Oh, Hanaki. Did you know that our souls are connected by fate? What do you know? I'm Yuno Hanaki, the one and only Oiran from Yalun. Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy OniMon. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, 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 hello. Give me a quick second. I have to fix my tabs. Everything got messy. Are they? I'm pretty sure. Always have been. Probably always will be. Smile. Also, I saw it while I was on the loading screen, but, Scarlet Rook, thank you very much for subscribing with Prime. And Johnny Cat, congratulations on your 7-stream streak. Congration. Oh, and Destroyer, congratulations on your 65-stream streak. Jesus Christ, that's a lot. Nintendo 65. That's gonna be what they announce during the next Nintendo Direct, obviously. I can imagine them cooking that right now. But yo, Hanaki! Welcome in, everyone. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. What was the theme for this Onimon? The fact that I can't stop fucking talking. It doesn't have to be about Limbo. It's just that that's the easiest thing to get me to ramble, you know? Just 2 more streams. Yeah, just 2 more streams. Until Onimon 100, right? That's what you're talking about, right? Not the fact that if Destroyer watches 2 more streams, they'll be at a 67 stream streak. That's clearly not what you're talking about, right? Right? You're clearly more excited about the 100 Onimon, right? Right. I know that. 65 streams, that's like 1% of the time Yuno owes from the Unothon. That is not true. That is not correct. I've actually whittled down so much of the Unothon. We don't even have to worry about it, bro. We don't even have to worry about it. Also, I've streamed way more than 65 times. It's just that some streams were not always on Twitch. Yes. Oni noises will keep my drowsy butt awake. Let's go. Let's go! Keep your eyes open. Wide-eyed staring. That's the goal. That's the vibe. We must sabotage the watch streak? No! If you can keep it up, it's fine. Honestly, on Twitch, they make it pretty easy. You just have to tune into a stream for, I think, like 3 minutes. And as long as you're there for like 3 minutes or more, it counts towards your streak. They're like, just tune in for a little bit and it's fine. And then you could literally leave. You can do every other stream too. Yeah, the only time it makes you lose your streak is if it tells you the warning, like, hey, you're gonna lose your streak if you don't watch today's stream. That's the only way you would ever end up actually losing it. You just have to listen to one Yuno tangent and you're good. My tangents last longer than 3 minutes. Hermph. My streak keeps breaking thanks to work. It's fine. In the end, I don't think it particularly matters. It's just something that Twitch does to gamify, you know? They're doing it because they're like, please use our platform. Use our platform 80 bajillion million times. But it doesn't actually matter. Nothing matters if we're being for real. Abyssal J, congratulations on the 3-stream streak. My streak has already been destroyed by the gorilla streams and not being home to see that. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, but I did not have a choice. I had to. Nothing matters in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, man. Many of our problems are minuscule when you look at the world as a whole. Not that that means that they don't matter to you in a moment. However, if you look at it in comparison to the rest of the world, it does not matter. And that's on nihilism, baby. Oh, hey, hello. Yeah, hi, hello, hey. Hi, hello. Hi. Welcome to OniMon. What exactly is Pokemon planning? Like for the 30th? No idea. But we're gonna find out together. Because I'm going to be watching with the squad. I asked them earlier and they confirmed. So I will be watching it Friday morning with, Hitomi and Kaya and Ayla-sama. Yippee! I'm excited. Even if the presentation ends up being meh, getting to watch it with some of my favorite people in the whole wide world makes it worthwhile to me. It matters to me! I'll take it. Spent the entire day thinking of what to name my trainer for my Leaf Green playthrough. Ooh, did you decide on anything? What about us? I always watch shit with you. Let me have this moment with my girls. I always watch things with you. Watching Pokemon with the gals, you know, has one life. This is gonna be a good week. This is true. Not as good as last year, when it was watching the Pokemon Presents and then getting to play Bustafellows. But it's fine. When is it? My stream will be starting at 8:30 a.m. on Friday. So 5:30 a.m. for you. The actual presentation starts at 6 a.m. PST. So either get up or die. I'm kidding. It's a really hard time to wake up for. I thought someone said the 30th? No. Why would it be the 30th? It's fucking February. No, it's happening on the 27th. Narissa would love you? Thanks? I think? I mean, I'm taking that as a compliment. I've never spoken to her. Pokemon inventing a whole new date on the calendar for the 30th anniversary. Yeah. I think when you mean someone said the 30th, it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, but the actual event is happening on the 27th of February, because that's always been Pokemon Day. 30th anniversary, not happening on the 30th. But yeah, I'm going into it with, like, meh expectations. If something cool happens, yay. If not, it doesn't matter. I'm surrounded by pretty girls. That's also my birthday, funnily enough. Were you born 30 years ago? Because that means you were born at the same time as Pokemon, which means you are Pokemon. No? Disappointed! That's lame. For the 30th anniversary, they will announce Mega Flygon just for me. Yes, just for you. They will look into the screen and be like, hello, Scarlet Rook, we have a surprise for you. Please take a look at this. And then they'll show you Mega Flygon. But that's only on your version of the stream. Everyone else sees something different as their special, unique announcement. So true, even if the announcements are mid, then you're still around cute girls. Real win for Yuno. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. You are a Pokemon? Me? I mean, I was Ogerpon when I was green. I don't think that's true anymore, though. Hold on, sorry. I have to write the poll because somebody redeemed it. I honestly don't know if this particularly matters. I assume that it would be fine because if they allow games like Balatro, they surely will allow in-game slots. Everyone else gets Mega Shuckle. You know what? I think that'd be worth it. If it's a straight port, it should be in the game. From what I've heard, everyone is saying it's just a direct, like, one-to-one port of the original game. So I assume the slots are going to be in there. Probably going to be Champions release date and Pokopia stuff. I mean, I guess they might show more Pokopia stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they mentioned Champions. Once again, I feel like you just come in here to rage bait me by mentioning a character that I look nothing like. I'm going to look this character up, and you better be onto something, or else I might have to start just deleting your messages when you say these things. Yeah, you gotta go, man. I'm sorry, bro, but I look nothing like this character. I already deleted the message. Thanks. That doesn't change the fact that you compared me to a character I look nothing like. Why do we come in here and say things that are so obviously untrue? Ogerpon Poison Mask? That would be pretty cool. Now it's gone. Moving on to the next surprise. You know the champion for the next game is Limbo. Don't lose. That would be pretty awesome for me personally. I would love to see Limbo reimagined in a Pokemon art style. You look like yourself? God, I should hope so. If I don't look like me, I don't know what I'm supposed to look like. When Gen 1 and 2 were re-released on the 3DS Virtual Console, their ratings got bumped to T from E over the slots minigame. Ah, I see. I don't know anything about that. Sorry, I sadly have to go. I have to watch my Oshi Yuno Hanaki right now. That's fair. I hope you enjoy watching her stream. Yeah, we've answered this. Yeah, you're only allowed to say I look like a yam. That's the only thing that's allowed. Tell her we said hi. Yeah, tell Yuno Hanaki that my YouTube chat says hi to her. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. They better have the Game Corner. I feel like they have to, especially because certain Pokemon are really only available if you exchange for Game Corner prizes. You know you're looking very yamish today. Thanks. Or Yuno looks like Grimace. I don't look like Grimace! I don't look like Grimace at all. Grimace is just a purple oval. With big eyes. And I have big eyes. But I do not look like an oval. You look like Grimace's hot older sister? Thank you. I did. Thank you. I think. I think. Can you turn yourself into a milkshake real quick for no reason at all? Yeah, hold on. I'm just going to turn myself into a smoothie right this second. That's the sound of the blender, by the way. All jokes aside, Twitch has to fix their problems with showing when people go online. I missed again so many streams. I wonder why it does that. I think it tries to kind of guess which channels you actually check in for versus ones you don't. I keep getting emails for when people go live, but like some of them end up in my primary inbox and then some of them end up in my like social or like promotion inbox. You get a quick check on how old Grimace is? Yeah, 1 second. Grimace, McDonald's, age. Well, his birthday is June 12th. I can find that information. Hair color, purple. Body type, rotund. Awesome. Fuck yeah, dude. Large, rotund taste bud. He's supposed to be a taste bud? He's canonically supposed to be like a representation of a taste bud? That's new information. That's crazy. Nothing about his actual age, though. I'm trying to see if it mentions when he was first introduced. Because I guess then we could calculate his age from there. When was he introduced? Here's some trivia about this guy, okay? 54? Oh, okay. So if he's 54, well then I'm definitely older, because I'm 224. I'm definitely older then. So we're good. Don't even worry about it. Grimace's birthday is June 12th. He is purple. That's a separate trivia bullet. He is purple. Though Grimace is canonically male, he has been portrayed by women. That's sick. Love that for him. The current voice of Grimace is voice actor Daniel Ross, who has also voiced Donald Duck amongst other characters. Fascinating. It has neither been confirmed nor denied that Gritty, the NHL mascot of the Philadelphia Flyers, is the same species as Grimace. Okay. Grimace's species is a bit undetermined. Originally, he was conceived as the physical manifestation of a milkshake headache. However, the wacky adventures of Ronald McDonald claims his species to also be named Grimace. Another account suggests that he is an anthropomorphic taste bud. Well, it looks like the wiki seems to prioritize the description of him being a taste bud. He is purple is the most important part. That's so true. Mandatory information, in case you didn't know, he is purple. He just has a complex about being constantly compared to you, so he's just become a slob out of spite. Nah, he's fine. He's living a good life. He's best friends with Ronald McDonald. If anything, I think he's doing better than me. He is? What? Yeah, man. He's purple. I always thought he was blue. You might be colorblind. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. ambiguous origins would fit right in an otome. Crazy statement. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a fucking, Grimace dating game around the time of the Grimace Shake. Ronald McDonald calls him by his species name. He doesn't respect him. Grimace doesn't have any other name. He's literally named Grimace. I don't know what else is he supposed to call him? He doesn't have another name. He used to be called Evil Grimace. Now he's just Grimace. Didn't KFC make a dating game? Was that an official game? I think it was, actually. But yes, I do recall that KFC made a dating game where you could date the Mr. Man himself. I love you, Colonel Sanders. Yeah, I remember. I couldn't remember if it was official or not, though. Japan loves Colonel Sanders very much. Well, they got, like, heavily marketed him. Because, you know, he's not really, like, a mascot anywhere else. Not even in, like, Western interpretations of KFC, you know? But, like, they got shilled him very hard. And they fell for the propaganda of eat chicken at Christmas. Because he looks like Santa. And a Hallmark romance film for some reason. Well, Hallmark romance films are kind of, like, iconic, so I'm not that surprised that they would want to take advantage of that market. He's kind of the same as Dave from Wendy's here. Yeah, exactly. Colonel Sanders being the face of the company was Dave Thomas's idea to instill confidence when KFC was in a bad area. Yeah, but then he never really stayed the mascot. Like, he's still on all of the boxes and everything, but he's not nearly the same, like, marketable mascot quality as he is in, like, Japan. I saw the trailer of Disney Pixar's Toy Story 5 last week. Sheriff Woody Pride was returning, and Forky has a girlfriend named Knifey since the end of Toy Story 4. Thanks. Very off topic. But I did also see the trailer last week, so I guess it's not entirely off topic. I feel indifferent towards it right now. Colonel Sanders is still the mascot of the company even as of now. Well, what I'm trying to say is, you're not understanding. What I'm trying to argue is that even though he's technically the mascot because he's on the boxes and on all of the branding, he's not treated like a mascot. Not to where advertising focuses on him. Not to where they sell merchandise of the man. Not to where, like, they do that shit, you know? That's more so what I mean. The closest that ever happened in the West was when they tried to release the dating sim. At least in terms of more recent, like, marketing campaigns with him as the focus. Just because you have the guy on the package doesn't mean that that's literally the mascot. Like, yeah, Wendy's still has the little girl on the cup, but do you really see commercials with, like, the red braided two-braid girl all the time? Do you have merch of her? No. Versus, like, when you look at how it is in Japan, they have the guy, like, stand in front of the shop sometimes. They'll have people dress up as him. Or they'll, like, have, like, core commercials and marketing that, like, feature him. That's more so what I mean. There's a difference between, like, mascot that's just used for, like, photo branding versus, like, mascot that they actually advertise in a more mascot fashion. Odd that Woody is back. I guess 4's end meant nothing. Well, the way they explain it in the trailer, if you don't mind spoilers, is that he's still traveling around with Bo, and they're still taking care of, like, stray toys, but he has a walkie-talkie that he uses to talk with everyone back at, the little girl's room. Sorry, I forgot her name. He has a walkie-talkie that he uses to talk with them. Obviously, walkie-talkies should not be able to reach that far, but it's a fantasy movie. And they basically tell him that they're worried about this, smart device that has invaded the house, and they think that it's going to take away the importance of toys. So he goes back to the house to help them get their kids' attention back. They literally spent most of the trailer explaining why he's coming back. Like, why he's there. To justify why it's different from the ending, you know? Magic walkie-talkie, I see. Yeah. And he's balding. Yeah, another big part of the trailer was that they were making fun of this bald spot that he now has because he's not, like, able to do as much maintenance due to being on the road and traveling so much. So now they make fun of him for being an old balding toy. Which is quite fucked up. He's gotta commit and drop the ing. No more actively balding, just be bald. But then he wouldn't really be a Woody toy anymore, I guess. Because he'd just have an egghead. I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this sequel movie happening. It took me forever to finally watch Toy Story 4. Like, I literally watched Toy Story 4 recently, like a few months ago recently, because I had never seen it. And I liked it. I don't know if I should really be that optimistic for 5, however. The trailer didn't really, like, make me have a desire to want to watch it. I was just kind of like, they have to spend a lot of time justifying why Woody made it back to the house. Is 4 the amusement park one? It's a fair, but yes. It's like a traveling carnival fair thing, but yes. Toy Story 3's ending was perfect and then they made more. Well, I mean, the reason I ended up watching 4 is because I watched a video essay from a creator I like that was like breaking down why people get so angry when series like this keep getting sequels, because everyone had the same exact thought of like 3's ending is perfect and then 4, and then everyone got mad. And then they thought that 4 actually ended up being really good and had a really good ending. And now we're back in the same cycle because Toy Story 5 is about to come out and everyone's just like, ugh, but 4's ending was perfect. How could they possibly do more? Which is a fair thing to critique, I think.
It seems fate led you here. What a meaningful connection.
Catman, 1120, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Toy Story 4 was all about wrapping up the gap from Toy Story 2. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think I agree with that very much. I think that 4 was more so to explain why certain toys were not present in 3. I think a lot of what they were doing was to, like, particularly explain what happened to Bo Peep, because Bo Peep was Woody's, like, life partner. I think 4 was more so to tell a story about Bo Peep and how Bo decided to grow and change after her separation. I don't really think it had anything to do with 2, if we're being quite honest. Yes, hello, welcome in, welcome in. All of the new followers get more love than small donos from Oiran Yuno. Well, yeah, that's because the donos are Oiran Yuno. And then I'm polite to everybody else. To encourage business. For me, Toy Story ended at 3. I did not watch 4. I am not watching 5. I kind of understand where you're coming from. Again, the whole reason I'm even discussing this is because I watched a video essay where someone was like critiquing why people feel the way that they do about Toy Stories 3, 4, and 5. It was very interesting to kind of hear how like it's easy to kind of like want to dismiss it because you're just like, oh, it was a perfect ending. How could they possibly add more? But they find ways to make it justifiable. At least the argument in this particular case, he mentioned that even if you were very satisfied with 3's ending, you could still watch 4 and come away with a decent level of satisfaction. And he was saying that odds are people will probably still come away with some amount of satisfaction with 5. Even though now they're all like, but 4 was a perfect ending. It's just like, it keeps repeating. And I'm guessing the same thing is going to happen if they ever decide to do a Toy Story 6. But 5 was a perfect ending! How could you possibly make more with 6? Like, it just feels like it's something that might keep happening. At one point, you just gotta end it. I'm pretty sure 5 is going to be the last one, especially because so much of the cast is, like, not to be dark, but, like, they're getting older. They surely cannot always be around to keep doing this. What was 2 about? Was that the one with the unintentional ASMR Woody refurbishment scene? Yes, that was when Woody was put into a box by accident and put out for the yard sale. He got purchased by a collector, and the collector started treating him more like a prized possession rather than a toy. But he wanted to go back to being treated like a toy, and the other toys had to rescue him from the collector's house. For 5, they do have the perfect theme. I do agree. I think that at least the theme makes sense. I'm just not really enthused about the vehicle that they chose. I don't like that the villain, quote-unquote, is themed to look like a leapfrog, and then they're equating leapfrogs with, like, smart tablets. I don't really like that, because leapfrogs were always intended to be educational toys, and were very strictly educational devices. So I don't really like that they are going to conflate the two things with how they've chosen to present the lily pad. But I guess. I guess. And Stinky Pete, yes, and also Stinky Pete was there. Stinky Pete was honestly a pretty interesting villain, all things considered. Good twist villain. I really liked Toy Story 2. And I didn't mind Toy Story 3. I was pretty open to 3 when it came out. But I was one of those people that was kind of jaded and was like, why would you even bother to make 4? And I never watched it. But Hitomi also really liked 4, so when we were watching that video essay and I mentioned I had never even properly watched 4, so I didn't really know what the guy was talking about, she literally made us pause the essay, watch the entirety of 4, and then we went back and finished the video essay. Which I guess was nice because I had the movie super fresh in my mind in order to, like, watch the rest of the analysis, but all of that is to say, she liked 4, so she was like, we need to watch 4. And I was like, okay. Movie break, indeed. It was nice, though. Disney might use AI to puppet the voice actors forever. I'd literally throw up. I'd literally throw up, I think. does make the analysis more engaging when it's in the top of your memory. It's definitely better than having to trust the summary that the YouTuber is giving you. Because, you know, sometimes the summary comes from a more biased perspective. Sometimes. Anyway. But I thought it was a decently fun movie. There were some bits that were kind of funny. Some of them didn't age super well, but there were some bits that were funny. In the most positive meaning possible, I'm very jealous of you and Hitomi's relationship. It's so nice to have a mega bestie. Thank you. I do agree that I am a very blessed individual to have somebody like Hitomi in my life. I agree. They kind of did it in a way with Mr. Potato Head. That's true. I wasn't really a fan of the fact I could hear Mr. Potato Head talking in the trailer. I was just like, that sounds off. I don't like it. But whatever. It is what it is, I suppose. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. And also the posture check. I'm already sitting pretty straight. I was just looking down at my phone for a second. Thank you. But I did sip some water. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Anyways. All of that is to say, I'm not really enthused, I guess, about 5, but I'm open to it. Because that was the overall takeaway from the video essay. He was just saying, like, people should be more open, because there's a chance that whatever story they want to tell is relevant. And I can also see that from a writing perspective, too. I learned a lot when I was in school about how, even if it seems kind of random, there is always a chance that, like, something that's been, like, not really touched for years could suddenly get another sequel. Because another idea that's in that universe just finally comes to the writer's head and they have to get it out somehow. Which I believe is what happened with 4. They just kind of realized they had a story they wanted to tell with Bo. So they made an entire movie in order to explain, like, what happened to her and, like, this vision that they had about what she got up to. And it ended up being a pretty decent story, and it had a pretty decent conclusion. So I have hope that whatever story they want to tell with 5 also ends up being good for the people who watch it, but also, I don't know if I'm going to watch it right away. That might be one I have to watch, like, way later. They can always reboot the movies as well if they want a new cast to be able to keep on making them. Ugh. I don't like the idea of rebooting it, though. Like, I guess that's technically what they're doing with the live-action remakes of the movies, I guess. But, like, I don't know how I feel about a live-action Toy Story. I think at that point, we've just lost the fucking plot. I don't know if that even makes sense. Where? I like the model, Miss Yuno Hanaki. Thank you. It was made by my favorite artist of all time, Sumeragi Kohaku, who is the artist for my favorite otome game of all time, Bustafellows. I loved the game so much, I decided to get a model from the artist. And I think I turned out quite lovely. Let's make it live action and stop motion. Oh, Jesus. That sounds like a nightmare. Live action Toy Story with Jack Black as Buzz Lightyear. No thanks. Live action remakes never got me interested because I didn't see anything that indicated there was something that was going to be said or experienced in live action. I think that's a fair assessment. I've never really been interested in watching any of the live action remakes either. I don't know, man. I am Buzz. See, the problem is that if Jack Black was going to be cast as anybody, wouldn't he be better as, like... I don't even know. I was going to say Woody, but I don't think that works either. Most live actions are not very good, but a few of them are good, especially 101 Dalmatians. I remember the live action for 101 Dalmatians. I feel like that one kind of told like a different story from the original, though, in a way that made it feel more unique. I especially have really fond memories of 102 Dalmatians, like the live action sequel. I think a lot about that scene where Glenn Close got baked into a cake. Which was the one with the cake? That was the second one, 102 Dalmatians. It should be Chris Pratt as Buzz Lightyear, my mistake. I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. Woody is a straight man, doesn't really speak Jack Black to me. Well, neither is Buzz. Buzz is also a little bit more of a straight man once we get, like, further into the series, though. I can see him as Rex, true. I think Rex has enough neuroticisms that Jack Black might be able to pull it off. But that's more of like a voice role. They already tried Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear, right? He was not Buzz Lightyear the toy. He was Buzz Lightyear the original astronaut. That movie was meant to be a telling of like the guy in the universe that inspired the toy. Which is, like, stupid. I never watched that movie. The idea with the Chris Evans Buzz Lightyear is that he was supposed to be the guy that then inspires the toy. The real universe within the Toy Story universe guy. The real universe astronaut. And it's weird. In the original animation, the guy who owned Pongo was a starving musician, but in live action, he's a starving video game developer. Yes, I remember. But that's what I mean when I say that it, like, still told a different story. And it felt unique enough that it wasn't, like, a complete one-to-one.
Cute. Do better.
Josh Knowles, thank you for the $20 tip. Stream Elements takes me away from the stream on my phone. I hope the topic is still Toy Story. I will die on the hill that you got a friend in me is superior in Spanish. Huh. I've never heard that, but sure. You're technically still on the right topic because we're talking about Disney as a whole. So you can let it slide. Toy Story 3 has a faster Spanish version as the credit song, likely a nod to Spanish Buzz. Oh, fascinating. We are now talking about how good Bruno's model looks. I mean, if you want to go back to talking about how pretty I am, I can't exactly tell you no. Because I agree. I agree I'm pretty. Oh no, you're going to compliment me? Whatever will I do about that? I watched Toy Story 3 in the Japanese dub because it sounded like a perfect anime series. Interesting. I don't know if I would really watch it. I mean, I'd be willing to try listening to some Disney movies in JP dub. But I also don't really know if it would, like, really work for me, I guess. Oh, enjoy your lurk. I don't have a lurk command, but enjoy your lurk. I feared I wouldn't like it, but it turned out extremely good. Thank you. I can't believe you were scared you weren't gonna like it. I told you you'd probably like it. Can't wait for my next paycheck to order the full Yuno merch set. Gonna get a big smile seeing the bookmark in my reference textbooks. Aw, that's so sweet. Yeah, you still have time to get your bundle. The bundle is available until March 4th? 5th? Somewhere in there. I think it's the 4th. So you still have a little bit of time, about a week. I appreciate it. Get the merch. Oh, thank you for the stretch. Buzz getting reprogrammed and being stuck in Spanish for 30 minutes was rad. It was kind of scary. I remember being so, like, icked out by it. So not only was he back in his, like, thinking he's actually the real Buzz Lightyear mode, but then he was also speaking Spanish, which made him so difficult to understand. Very crazy. But it was definitely cool for the villains to do that, I guess. To get rid of somebody who would have been capable of, like, telling the truth. And helping the rest of the cast. Thinking of buying the physical set of the book series I've been reading, which means I can use the Yuno bookmark. Yippee! I would love to see pictures that people take of their books with the Yuno bookmark sitting on top. That would make me happy. I'll probably post some too once I get back into reading books again. Super cute. I just listen to Puss in Boots' voice because he speaks Spanish, which both the Shrek and Puss in Boots films, Antonio Banderas does Puss in Boots in the Latin American and Castilian Spanish dubs. That sure was a sentence. But yeah, that makes sense to me. If you have a voice actor who's already capable of speaking the language, might as well have them be the official, like, dub-over voice, too. Makes sense to me, man. Super cute, I've been saying. I forgot what the full package of the Yuno merch was. Can you remind me? Wink. Yeah. So the full package of the Yuno Hanaki merchandise has the bookmark. It has an acrylic stand with my key visual. It has a can badge. And it has a exclusive new art of Yuno Hanaki eating cake while sitting on top of a cake. So the bookmark and the acrylic stand use my key visual, which has the long hairstyle, and then the can badge and the keychain are based off of the bun hairstyle, which I'm wearing right now. So the can badge has my buns with me sitting and staring at you like this. If you want that. If you want that. And And all that is available in the stream description. It is! If you check the stream description on YouTube right now, you can find the link to the shop where all of it's available. Your buns? Oh, the hair buns. Yeah, my hair buns. Not my butt. But yeah, you can find the merch available on Rachit Merch. They've done such a good job with it. I'm very grateful. Also, I'm on their website banner right now. It's just my key visual. You just see my little head, but I'm on their banner right now. Is shipping a reasonable price to the US? Yes, it is. Here's a link to for the Twitch viewers. Yuno Buns merch? No! Yuno Butters merch? No! Buns is in my hair buns! Jesus Christ! Get your heads out of the fucking gutter! Stop talking about my ass! Grow up! There's no butt merch. I'm just trying to say that we took advantage of the fact that I have two hairstyles. One with the default and then one with the hair buns. Everybody immediately talking about a mouse pad. Can you not? Fell to my knees at the Dave & Buster's. Buns merch would definitely sell, apparently, because everybody's already sobbing and crying over the fact that we don't have it. Is there a bonk? I was climbing into the hills and asked the park ranger where the peak was, and they said, you know, Hanaki hair buns, and then I realized we were already at peak. Amazing. I don't think this is peak. I feel like we can go even further beyond. But I do love the energy. I love the enthusiasm. Do. I was just asking a question. How did I end up in the gutter? Because you're thinking about my ass. Jail. You know Twin Drill's hairstyle? Is that what you would consider peak? Is that what you would consider peak? Can you please explain what Arrive references? That was an idea from Sora when it came time to add a bunch of meme emotes as part of those like kawaii donathon incentives. Because nobody submitted ideas for memes, so it was basically just me and Sora trying to rack our brains for memes. There's this meme of a guy from a yaoi. Hold on, I have to see if I can find it. There's this meme of a guy who's like, you know, got the yaoi build, so he's got like tiny head, big body, and he opens the door to the room to like arrive. Yeah, that's what it's referencing. I don't still have the reference image, so I can't like pull it up, but I just wanted clarification about your cake. Uh-huh. But yeah, I'm sitting on a slice of real food cake, and I am eating a slice of real food cake in the keychain that is part of the merch bundle. Not my fucking ass. A different but equal level of peak. I didn't know how good the bun hairstyle was before debut. I was always looking at it. I obviously really love the default hairstyle too, but I was always looking at the bun hairstyle the most. Every time I switched to it to like test and make sure it was moving properly and stuff, I'd always just be like, God, I fucking love this hairstyle. I just feel like it suits me a lot. But I also feel that way about the hairstyles that will be coming with the second outfit. Because those are going to be two entirely different hairstyles. Heh. Kinda Teto-like. Like this hairstyle you think is Teto-like? I mean... Teto's is drills. But I think that the side hair piece is kind of like Teto. I like your earrings, by the way. Thank you. I am not wearing earrings, though. I think you mean the charms that are at the end of the hair ornaments. I am not wearing earrings. It approaches elegance, but drills are too special to mash together. True. No drills. The ears are stored in the buns. I don't think that should be where they go. I don't think they should go over there. What about those golden hair accessories? Are you talking about my horns? Because I was already talking about the hair ornaments. That kind of encase the buns, because they move together, as you can see. Bun protection, yeah. I jokingly refer to them as my bun cage. Because if you look at how they're positioned, they like encase the front of the bun. So it must be how the buns stay in place, and then it's like tucked behind my ears. And my ears are naked, by the way. Here's a look at my ear. A scandalous earlobe reveal. But I do not have earrings. Originally, if I had stuck with just the short hair version, as in if I didn't have the buns and I just kept my hair short, that version did actually come with a design for earrings. If you will remember from when I showed the concept sheet. I'm guessing because if the buns weren't there, there would still need to be some sort of accessory that was like added, some sort of like jewelry or accessory on my head. So no cake, but she'll flash her ears. I've shown my cake in my debut. It's on my reference sheet. You can literally see how big my ass is. But I can't really show ass because VTuber models only face forwards. I don't know what you want from me. I heard Yuno wanted a compliment. I love the hairstyle. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I guess we know what 3.0 needs to be. What do you mean? 3.0 just being me standing with my back facing you? This is a conversation, all right? What do you want me to do about this, huh? How far does the nylon material go down? You mean the sheer material? I believe it goes to my tummy. Hold on. I literally can check this. Because I took a screenshot. Hold on. Hold, please. I can literally check this. One moment. Un momento. I think it goes to my tummy. Oh, no. My boobs. At least with how it's drawn on the model. I think technically the intention with, like, the initial artworks were that it would go to, like, over the stomach. But the way it's drawn on the model, it's, like, only over the boobs. And then there's, like, a very obvious boob shadow. And then I have a bare tummy. But the sheer material does also cover, like, the entirety of my arms. It's not a one piece. It is not. It is not, no. I can double check some of the other reference materials I got to see. But I don't think it's drawn like that on those ones either. Double checking. Yeah, no, it's not drawn like that on there either. Bare tummy, respectfully, yes. Bare tummy. Yeah, there was never a reference for like specifically how far the sheer part goes. I'm going. It was nice meeting you. Thank you. Have a good rest of your night. Bear Dumpy? Yeah. Plays gif of the old man falling down the stairs. Crash, crash, crash. Sheer part is up to our imagination? I suppose so. It's like a sheer crop top. Yeah, basically. But then you also know this because I can do this. But it covers my arms. See? Fully covers arms. And then it covers my baubles. But if I were to... If it wasn't for the fact that the way I am rigged hides my tummy from view completely, I can't show you my bare tummy. I can only show you if I take the layers off of my actual, like, model. Not this one. Not the rigged one. The way I am rigged gets rid of the tummy layer so you can't see it. Sorry to disappoint. Wife spotted. Was that wife just now? A crumb of wife. Once again, no tummy. It's just how Spiral chooses to rig. I imagine it's to avoid any accidental scenarios where the tummy gets revealed. Do not peel the onion. She may be made of layers, but you should not peel them off. That costs money. Oiran costs a lot of money, you know. You should be grateful that I show you the things that I do for free. Alright, to my D2, congratulations on the 3-stream streak. Why must the tummy always be forsaken? Well, I literally just said it does exist. Like, I have access to it. It's just the way that it is rigged makes it so that I cannot show the tummy on the moving model. But I can show you the static image of my tummy. There isn't really much detail there. But, like, it exists, and I have a belly button. Huge. I don't even think I had a belly button on my original model tummy. Sharing is caring. Okay. I guess I can show you where the tummy is.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Are you fucking kidding me? You guys are crazy. Hold on, I was just getting a screenshot of the tummy. Thank you for the bruh. May May. Thank you for the $100 tip. What does this buy me? Good question. Tummy? Do you want tummy time? Because there isn't really much else I can show you. To an Oiron and ankle. That's very true. This is like... not a lot. Compared to what Oiron usually charge, that's still like pocket change. Daniel Smith, thank you for the $101 tip. 1% less than this buys is crazy. Thank you. You guys don't have to be like this. But thank you. I appreciate it. It goes towards Thing, as you can see. We love Thing. And also stuff. Okay, hold on. I will show you tummy. Oop, wrong thing. It might be kind of hard to see just because I'm so fucking pale. But it's something. Oh, she's giant? Hold on. Okay. Miss Hanaki, yes? Tummy. I had to crop a lot because unfortunately, I am like a Barbie doll. I am a Barbie doll, so I had to crop a lot of things. Please understand, but that's what my tummy looks like. Thank you for the hydrate. I think you guys need it more than me. That's what you mean? Yeah, sorry. I'm very pale. You're an innie? I am. I have an innie belly button. That's a Blake White sheet. Leave me alone. I can't help it. But you can see kind of the definition of where my tummy is. Like, you can see the tummy lines, and then you see the belly button, and then you can kind of see the lines of the thighs. I can't show you anything else because I'm like a Barbie doll. They're just very subtle, you know? I'm just very subtly... it's very subtle. Oni Barbie girl in an Oni world. Very true. Why would Oiron be anything but pale? Exactly! And also, I'm like an Oiron of the night already, additionally also. I literally never see the sun. All my power comes from the nighttime. The power of the moon. So like... I don't even know what the sun is. I've never heard of it. We know she ain't leaving the box. The next Unothon tanning bed. Please don't get me a tanning bed. But yeah, you're right. I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving this spot. But yeah, there is crumb of tummy. You are welcome. Me looking at Oiron prices, geez, that must be the best 7 minutes in heaven. Damn right. If you're able to pay that much money, you will get your money's worth. It's just, you have to pay a lot of fucking money to be able to reach that point with an Oiron. And you have to do it repetitively so that you can prove that you actually, like, can sustain an Oiron's lifestyle. That was a meal, not a crumb. If you say so. I appreciate it. Someday, as in this would probably be something I could only show members, but I could probably show you the butt fangs. But I can only show it to members because butt fangs I am 90% certain are not allowed at all on Twitch. So if I ever get an outfit that highlights the fact that I have butt fangs, because I do, I probably can't use that outfit on Twitch at all. Just fun fact. Disappointing world that we live in. Life is often disappointing. Twitch can't get enough of the Bible. I don't know if I agree with that, but they're definitely very strict about what VTubers are allowed to show. Why can't we have nice things? I'm sorry, Twitch. Might have to scurry that VOD when that comes to fruition. Maybe. Twitch hates nature. Twitch hates women. Specifically VTuber women.
Cute. Do better.
Conrad, thank you for the $6.90 tip. Ahaha, nice. This OniMon, remember to Oni responsibly. I don't think anyone knows how to Oni responsibly. Unless you have 1 million subs, then anything's fair game for Twitch. So true. Alright, guys, we know what must be done. I get 1 million subs, I make outfit with butt fangs. 100 is def worth tummy pick. I'm glad you think so. 1 million submarine sandwiches, got it? Yes. 1 million sandwiches to me, please. In my mouth right now, thank you. Unless the contract was sealed. The shame of Moses smashing the first 10 commandments copy. It literally totally definitely had thou shalt not stream the bottom fangs as commandment 12. 11 was Yuno Hanaki, am I right? So true. I can confirm this. 13 is just a bonk emote. It's just the GIF that some VTubers use that comes default in VTube Studio with like the hammer that just bonks your head a bunch of times. It's just that. They somehow had GIFs back then. It makes sense, trust. Fish! 14 is lost to time, and the final one was 15, the Ponky mode again. Very true. Time for my dinner of ice soup. No! Don't say that! Don't say that! But thank you, I really do appreciate it. I hope you will be okay. Please eat more than ice soup. I said /J. Are you /J or are you /SRS? I never know. But okay, thank you. I hope you actually enjoy a proper dinner. May your dinner be delicious. Seriously, JKing? No, my brain would lose its fucking marbles. At least throw some pepper on the ice soup. Cold pepper ice soup is crazy. When I was /Sirs, but I /J, so people don't worry. Not the way that that's literally me. Help. Ice soup with water tea. Wow, the life of luxury. Break out the bread and water soup. The bread that you slice that's like very like micro thin. It's basically in a slightly translucent sheet. There's this like, I don't remember which short it was or like what it was for, but I always remember this like one Disney cartoon. We're somehow back on Disney with Mickey, Donald, and Goofy being really poor. And they're like basically eating like fucking nothing. And it's like Mickey trying to slice bread and he just slices it into this really thin translucent sheet. I think Donald is the one that has like a pea and he's trying to split it into thirds so that all of them can eat some of it. And then because they're struggling to cut it, like they kind of start fighting over it and then it like hops into the air and I think Goofy swallows it by accident. Like he swallows the whole pea. Whenever I think about how I'm going to be broke for the next little while, I always have that playing in my head. I'm always just like, well, time to struggle to eat one pea. Gosh. Yeah, literally. When it's so Unover /J, when we're so back /Sirs. Not the tone indicators. Man, oh man. I honestly don't remember what movie that was for, or if it was like a short. I really don't remember. I just remember that moment of them being poor, and then I know the whole point of the short is that they don't end up poor for like forever. Like they are able to stop being destitute. But I just can't remember what that was actually for. Oh well. I see it all the time on Twitter. I just wish I knew what it came from, because I don't remember now. My brain is so empty. Many such cases.
Bop, 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 bop.
It was part of a package film called Fun and Fancy Free, apparently. You're so right! That's why! It was such a niche, package of shorts. Practically nobody I know ever watched it, but we had a VHS tape of it. Whoa. That's a throwback. Fun and Fancy Free, that's crazy. Neuron activation, thank you. I was about to start looking it up myself. What's a VHS? Is that the save icon? No, the save icon is a floppy disk. I vaguely remember seeing that too. My family had a VHS player. Fair. Woke you up like a sleeper agent code. Yeah, I literally was just like, oh. Wait. I remember. I remember now. Huge. People at the time needed to do stuff with floppy disks before people could afford hard drives as the mainstay. Makes sense. I mean, I don't really remember that era very much. I remember floppy disks. I think OniMon had a few. But, like, I don't really, like, fully, like, have knowledge of, like, using them. So, like, I never used them, I guess. But I remember that they existed. I'm being hurt right now. I'm sorry, bro. I used floppies when I was in elementary, but flash drives had taken over by high school. We didn't really do anything that required using floppy disks that I can recall when I was in school. I feel like we kind of skipped over that era in a way. We already had, like, school computers, so we didn't really need to have the floppy disks. I don't really have much memory of it, to be honest. Maybe we did and I just don't know. I still have the translucent hot pink one from the 90s. Man, that sounds sick. I'm not that much older than the demo here. The demo here, what's a Nokia phone? I remember OniMon had a Nokia phone. I believe. My first phone, though, was a flip phone. I tell you about the time the best way to save data from a computer was a cassette tape, like the ones music came on. That's crazy. Something from the Stone Age, eh, Grandpa? Vampire cell phone. AOL trial discs old? I remember AOL trial discs as well. My cousin had the Nokia brick and we played baseball with it because we wanted to see if the claims of indestructibility were true, and they were. That's insane. Cool, but insane. My parents hung up AOL discs on strings as bird deterrent? Wait, what? Bird deterrent? How? Was it just because they were like shiny and it could stop the birds from flying close? On fruit trees. Oh, to like keep them from getting at the fruit? Fascinating. The modern scarecrow. Not sure it ever worked. That's just strange. I've like never heard that before. Huh. Shiny discs, yes. I see. Also, Astra, congratulations on your 20 stream streak. That's a lot of streams. Looked kind of cool at the very least. We'll go with that. At least it looked cool. Hopefully it protected your fruit a little bit. Birds were very anti-technology. They're like, oh god, an AOL disc? Let's get away from this tree. You try to do the same thing with a floppy disk and the bird's like, floppy disk. I thought you said flappy disk. Ba-bumch. I had friends who just took a bunch of the free trial discs to chuck at each other like poor shuriken. Boys are crazy. You can tomato me for that one. I thought it was funny though.
Yep, your soul will do.
F-Right SD, thank you so much for the 7-month resub at tier 1. Thank you, thank you. Crows use GeoCities. This is known. True. I can believe that. It is remarkable how you've continued to blossom, Yuno. Well, thank you. I do my best. I just keep at it. I keep at the grind set. That's all I can do. Are the birds the ones making the fake cities on Google Maps? Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. They're like, this is real city. Please come here and drop crumb. I mean, exist and drop crumb. Yuno's thighs blossom. Are you saying my thighs are getting bigger? What do you mean by this, huh? What do you mean by that? That wouldn't be bad either. God, I hope. Okay, noted. So if I get bigger, you guys are still gonna love me. Noted. I'm taking notes on this. Time to draw thick, Yuno. Let's go. Make me thick. not a complaint. Oh yeah, far from it. Far from it. I mean, I do already think that my thighs got thicker, with 2.0. Imagine them even bigger. More Yuno is more Yuno, always a win. That's the right way to look at it. I want a pigeon version of Little Kitty Big City or Untitled Goose Game. That would be pretty fun. I would love another game like Untitled Goose Game. Did you know the devs for Untitled Goose Game are making like a co-op silly game that's coming out soonish? I forget what the heck it's called. Hitomi and I were talking about it recently. It looks like it'll be cute. Booba physics are old news. It's all about thigh physics now. I mean, there's a reason why I ensured that my rig would still emphasize thighs like it did before. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I need to take my top off. There's a reason I had to ensure that the hips still worked. Because, I mean, look at these things. If they were not properly rigged in this way, the people would be so unhappy. We're looking. Yeah, man. Why do you keep sending donos for Krabby Patties? You wouldn't get it. You don't get it. Oh, I get it. Goat Simulator and Goat Simulator 3 are kind of that. I think Goat Simulator is a little bit more absurd. Not that that's a bad thing. But I think Goat Simulator is more absurd than Untitled Goose Game is. Untitled Goose Game kind of stays pretty rooted in realism in a way. Meanwhile, Goat Simulator very much does not. Shakira, who? Ole, ole, ole. Or whatever she does. Thigh Simulator with wife as DLC. Could you imagine? The one time Yuno Hanaki DLC exists in a video game and it's to show off my thighs in particular. Well, I mean, there's a reason we always talked about me eventually being in Nikkei, right? Oh, I actually just realized that if I move a particular way, you can actually see my butt fang a little. Oops, I guess that means I can't do this on Twitch. Anyway, that was decent. Pause! It hits! Yuno thigh on coloring voxels? That would be pretty funny. I'd go broke trying to get 11 cores of you. Let's go! Hopefully I would actually be good in the meta. When are we getting a Yuno mod for that thigh rhythm game? Oh, right! I remember that rhythm game. That'd be pretty cool. That's the 3 minutes for the Twitch streak. So true. Just watch that one part and you're golden. Wife over meta in that only instance for me? Aw. Thank you. But that's what I mean. That's why I'm saying hopefully I would still be decent in the meta. This is an odd question, but what is the most hours you put into a game only to restart when things went away you didn't want? I don't think I've ever restarted a game purely out of rage at how something turned out. There was like a time, I guess, when I played an otome game where I realized that because I made too many bad choices, that even if I went back and tried to fix my last choice, I wouldn't be able to fix it, so I had to start the whole route over, but that still was only like 4 hours-ish, maybe 5. I've never really been the type to like rage quit over a situation like that, though. If I start a game completely over after putting a lot of time into it, it's because I want to re-experience it from the beginning. But I also don't like restart games much. I missed a couple quests with good stuff in Fallout 4, lost 400 hours. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, time-sensitive events. If I realize that I missed something that was time-sensitive, I'm just like, whatever. If I miss it, I miss it. I would probably just start a new playthrough, like, separate from that one. In terms of, like, quote-unquote starting over. I wouldn't, like, rage quit, delete my save just to go back for one quest. I'm just not that kind of gamer. I'm not that sweaty about it. Much respect to the people who are. It shows a certain level of determination and, like, desire to be a completionist, but if I realized that far in that I missed something, I would just be like, okay. At that point, that's just on me. "50 hours, things not going my way was lightning hitting the house and cooking the memory card. Moral of the story, watch the hardwiring during summer." Oh, God. Lightning hitting the house and cooking the memory card, that's devastating. Oofias. Accidentally killing a quest giver. Oh, no. Yikes. Yeah, I could see that being pretty bad. "My spreadsheet disease requires min-maxing. It's awful." Oh. I mean, I do think that being able to be that, like, focused and detailed in a game is, like, a good trait to have. I've just never really been that kind of gamer, so I don't really have a situation that's, like, similar to that. Personally. Like, if I make a mistake, I make a mistake, you know? I'm just kind of like, alright. Alrighty then. Yeah, I don't know. I just game. I usually don't notice that kind of stuff. Like, I'll just complete the game and be like, all right, I did it. And then I'll find out later that I did something quote-unquote suboptimally, or that I, like, skipped over something or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, I guess I'll worry about that the next time I play the game. But I'm really bad about, like, replaying something immediately after beating it the first time. It takes me a really long time to go back and, like, replay a game. I'm also like this with, like, movies or shows or whatever. I have to give myself, like, breathing room from the last time I played it before I then go play it again. I can't really be too much of a repeater. I don't like being a repeater when it comes to this stuff. I have to space it out, and then I'll eventually go back to it after it's been a little while, and then I'm like, yay. And it feels like a more fun experience because I was able to, like, forget a little bit of it. So it still feels fresh. And then I still try to, like, find the stuff that I had missed. So then I'm like, yay, even more fresh stuff. There's only been a few exceptions where I immediately went back to play again. I usually take a good break from a game before going back. Yeah. Looks back at 7-year-old me beating Kingdom Hearts 50+ times in 1 year. Hey! Have you been tested? Asking nicely. You know that hot girl early on that died? She could have been a follower. No. Oh, man. Yeah, hearing things about, like, characters that probably could have been companions is definitely a bummer. Pretty sure I have something. I shake your hand. Tested for what? Swag? A certain kind of swag. I was going to ask, but since you brought it up... I'm asking it very politely. Everybody's got a little bit of swag, I think. The flavor of swag is what makes us unique. What kind of swag? Yes. Artist. Yeah, that's fair. All my fellow Baldur's Gate 3 players, how many times have you played Act 1? That question is not for me. I've never played the game. But if anyone else here has played Baldur's Gate 3, hopefully they can answer you. That's not my realm. Five. Okay. You're in writer. I am. I do write. I write pretty regularly. I went to school for it, too. Only ever played Baldur's Gate 1 once, but spend so many hours doing everything possible. One time, still haven't beaten the game after getting Act 3. About 2020? Oh my god. You seem like you would enjoy Baldur's Gate 3. I have been told that I would probably like it. I have been told that it seems like a game I would enjoy, probably. Just haven't really had the time or the means. Haven't really had the time or the means. I don't know, though. The characters seem fun, but they're not, like, crazy appealing to me, I guess. Not the time, means, or hard drive space, also true. Actually, she's a VTuber, Oidon, philosopher, writer. Where did philosopher come from? When have I been a philosopher, huh? I haven't beaten Act 3 yet either, and I'm so close. Dang! Well, I hope you're able to beat it soon if you have the time. Always has been, at least every Monday. Do these talks get philosophical for you? The flavors of swag pit. Is that philosophical? I don't know about that. I'm still losing my mind over tested for what? Swag? Because there's just something about that that's fucking awesome. That's gonna live in my head for a while. Buddha the Wise? Yo. If you said that back in the day, you'd have a marble statue made of you. Oh my god, you're so right. Except all of the philosophers also would have been like, what does she mean by swag? Is swag an anagram? Or it would have been woman had thought witch burn her. Very true. They also would have burned me. We'd have courses on swagology. Swagolosophy. I'm playing the Warhammer 40k equivalent of Baldur's Gate 3. It prompted my question about starting over. I'm about to lose 400 hours again. Oh no! That sucks. Well, I guess if you really like the game, sinking in another 400 hours won't be so bad. What is an Oidon? So an Oidon is a high-level courtesan. They don't really exist, like, currently in modern era, besides, like, me. There's only 3 actively practicing Oidon in Japan right now. But even then, they only do activities, like, once a year. Also, all of the, like, 18+ stuff was removed, so it's mostly just, like, existing. But it basically, it's like one of the highest ranking courtesans you could find at like a brothel, usually in the Yoshiwara district of Japan. You have to pay a lot of money in order to even get a chance to like interact with them. You have to show off your wealth. You have to treat the room, treat all of her staff, also like buy really expensive alcohol and like present her with expensive gifts a bunch of times in a row to like prove your dedication to her and also how much money you have. And then eventually you get the chance to actually like speak to her. And then eventually you would get the chance to spend a night with her. Yeah. That's like the most bare bones way I can explain it. Kill the quest giver. Well, not me, an RNG event. Ugh. Playing board games? Yes, that is another thing you can do with an Oidon. As you're like leading up to the point where you can finally spend that night with her, you can do things like drink together. She can like sing for you. She can recite poetry. She can dance. She can tell you stories. Oidon have to be trained in a lot of like cultural things. So they have to be like very culturally, politically aware so that they can have like intellectually stimulating conversations with you on top of being able to like match you when it comes to playing like a board game or like showing off their ability to play an instrument or whatever. Usually to become an Oidon, you're like really skilled in like a particular thing that would like make you super desirable to men. So for me, it was the fact that I was a really good actress. I was also pretty okay at singing and dancing, but most people liked the fact that I was really good at acting. And also because I already read a lot of books. I was always really good at, like, telling stories. In other words, it's like courting a girlfriend in 2026. Hey now. I don't think that's true. I don't think that part of it's true. Oh, hold on, my internet's dying. There we go. Why did the demand for Oidon ever die? Laws. True. Laws. So Buno is one. We spend time together, send donations, play games. Yes. Seen fine on my end. Yeah, no, it was my browser tabs. It wasn't loading the chats. They were like frozen for me. Stream was fine, but I had to like click away to get my chats to come back. But I can see you now, it's all good. Modern Oidon could play League as a duo. Modern Oidon could play League as a duo, but with her mic muted. And you'd probably only get to play like maybe 3 rounds max with her. And it would cost like $500. But she would have her mic muted and would not be communicating with you and would just be playing the game. You would have to do that maybe like 1 or 2 times before she would finally unmute her mic to be on comms. A round of Dota 2 would be around 1K. Yeah. Probably. $50 per acknowledgement by question mark ping. Cute. Bot lane support, 750 mid lane, 2,000 of other team goes Akali. Unmutes, says noob, Lamau unmutes again for the next 3 matches. That would be pretty crazy. It really is just like how One Piece showed it then. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I never watched One Piece. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of had the right idea. %50 tip if you did that. Noted. Onigashima One Piece strikes again. No. At least it wasn't in the Onigashima arc, right? Surely? Surely it wasn't, right? Lays on the ground. Go harder. No, it was. Fuck. This shit's so ass. What do you mean? That can't be true. There are 2 people saying that it was. Unless everyone's just partnering up to gaslight my ass. What the hell? Technically not if you only count the actual assault on Kaido as an arc, but it is in the Wano arc. I don't know what any of these words mean. Onigashima is the traditional Japanese-inspired arc. No, dude. What do you mean? It would actually be my nightmare if I went to ask Kaladin or somebody in management, or who was in management, if that was where the inspiration for me came from. Because that's insane. Because I never really knew what they tried to base me off of. Besides the fact Oni and then Oidon. I'm so upset right now. When did Wano manga start? All I remember is that like really early into my career in Kawaii. I think this was after I got paired with Sora, so it was like late October, early November. One of the first things that he asked me was if I was based off of if the place that I came from, Onigashima, was the same Onigashima as One Piece. Because that was all that was showing up in the search results, because that arc was going on, I think. Like, it was pretty actively going on, I believe? but I don't know. I choose to believe they just really like the Onigashima events of FGO. I would have preferred that over One Piece, because at least I know a thing or two about fucking FGO shit. Could have been from Apothecary Diaries as well. Maybe. Apothecary Diaries was pretty popular at the time. That wasn't in any of the references, though. Because where would the Oni thing come from? Besides just being an Oni. I wish I knew. My reference sheet was literally just all text. And then, like, old historical photos of Oiran and, like, geisha. And then, like, old murals of Oni, I think, also. I didn't have any visual anime character references when it came to the stuff they sent the artist. When Yuno finds out you're heavily inspired by Luffy. I don't think I'd be heavily inspired by Luffy. But I don't know. Anyway, when I came up with my lore, I did not... I did not have anything for One Piece in mind because I've never consumed it. It was my manager who assumed. You're an Oni, you debuted as a samurai and a ninja. Were they setting you up to be the enemy? I don't really know if they had a plan for what they wanted for the three of us. I don't think they did. I think they just wanted all of us to be old, traditional Japanese themed set in the past. But I think they had literally no plan for the cohesion of the three of us. They were just like, here you go. Figure it out. I will say that when I was first cooking up lore for the three of us, before the other two came up with their own ideas, I was initially cooking up lore and I did actually envision the Oni being an enemy. Or at least perceived to be an enemy. It could have been a big misunderstanding moment, TM. Hanamizuki equals 16th century Japan is cool, yeah, Ephemera. Trains, wee! Well, I'll say this again. From what I remember, one of the main reasons that it became, like, the way that it did with, like, the train focus was the idea of like, because Star Rail was really popular at the time, Honkai Star Rail. Management just really liked the idea of all of them, like, joining together and traveling on a interdimensional train that would, like, let them go to different worlds, which is why they were all different. Like, they wanted them to have that, like, interdimensional train because of Star Rail, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was the Jump Big Three, Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece? I guess. It wouldn't explain why they chose an Oni for One Piece, though. I think management had One Piece in mind. The big bad and his kid are horned humanoids of the Oni race. Well, I don't think so, though. That would really piss me off if that's the case. I really don't think so. All of the stuff I remember in the references for what they came up with for Green, you know, was all, like, purely historical shit. There was not a single anime character referenced. Bad news, Volume 92 is literally titled The Oiran from late 2018, early 2019. Okay, then it wasn't the case then. I think the problem was just that when my manager at the time was trying to look up Onigashima, he was a little oopid and just thought that it meant One Piece because I was in the same gen as girl who literally lived and breathed One Piece. I don't think it's actually because of One Piece, though. But the problem, too, is that because One Piece had an arc dedicated to Onigashima and, like, dedicated to the Oni, all of the search results when my manager was trying to look up what Onigashima was were coming back One Piece. So he assumed that I went off of surface-level Google searching and chose Onigashima because of One Piece. When I've never read One Piece, I've never touched a single volume, I've never watched more than, like, 4 episodes of the 4Kids dub when I was, like, 8. I chose Onigashima because of the Momotaro myth. You know, the one from actual, like, Japanese folklore. Crazy, I know. But I'm, like, 95% certain they wouldn't have done it based off of One Piece. I don't think Kaori ever really read One Piece. I wouldn't know, though. I never asked her. Because why would I ask her? I don't know anything about One Piece either. Guess you slept through that part in school? I mean, probably. It'd be like that sometimes. But no, I did have to be like, no, it's based off of the Momotaro myth, like, from folklore. And then I had to, like, remind him what Momotaro is, and then he was like, oh. I think it's just a similar inspiration for both your character and the One Piece arc. The similarities come from that. I guess it really is just a very unfortunate coincidence. Especially if the arc is that old. Because you have to remember, Yuno was conceptualized in, like, 2023. And then I debuted late 2023. If the arc really took place 2018, 2019, there's no way that I was based off of that. The earliest that Yuno Hanaki could have been made was, like, 2022, maybe. So I don't think so. But unfortunately, I'll never know. The arc is also the longest. It only ended in 2025. I see. I guess that explains why it was populating search results then. Were you already interested in Oiran and the culture surrounding it before coming up with the lore? I had a passing interest. I didn't know too much about them. But I had heard of them before. But I really didn't know... Like, here's the thing. I didn't understand what the fuck Yuno was supposed to be when I first saw her. I've always said this. I I looked at her, and I looked at the horns, and I looked at her design, and I was just like... Demon? But isn't there already a demon? I didn't really understand what she was supposed to be. And management did the whole, oh, well, you know, you can decide that for yourself. Now that you get to be her, you get to decide what she is for yourself. You can do all of that. And I was like, okay, but like, is there a basis for her? Because I didn't understand that she was supposed to be an Oni until I was told. Because she didn't look like an Oni at all to me. She just looked like a girl with horns. So my first instinct was just like gold demon. I didn't know what else she was supposed to be. So management was like, oh, well, she's an Oni, and her outfit is based off of, based off of, like, Oiran and Maiko. And I was like, oh, what's an Oiran? And they were like, oh, Oiran are, like, courtesans. And I was like, oh, okay. So they started talking a little bit about, like, what courtesans were like and, like, what they were known for. Cowdian specifically was, like... the main reason that they went for the Oiran angle was because they wanted Yuno to kind of be, like, cultured. Like, they wanted her to be very, like, smart and, like, knowledgeable about a lot of things, and they wanted someone who was, like, culturally aware, and, like, just somebody who could kind of, like, have that knowledge. They, like, when she chose that vibe, she was kind of just wanting someone who could be, like, I don't know, culturally, intelligent. Like, somebody who just knew, like, about the arts and was able to, like, be a strong performer, I guess? Or just, like, somebody who had, like, a lot of the book smarts, kinda? I remember her saying that during the character meeting. It was more so, like, for the cultural knowledge and the fact that they were, like, known to be really smart. So that was kind of, like, more so what they wanted. Less so about the fact that they were courtesans. It was just the fact that they were capable of a lot of, like, smart girl stuff. But I thought that the angle was really cool. And so I was like, oh, so I could probably, like, use that when it comes to forming my lore, right? And that's when they were like, well... You probably shouldn't call yourself an Oiran, though, because that's not very kawaii. And I was like, but if that's literally what I'm based off of, then why can't I use it? And they were like, it's just not a very kawaii thing to do. And I was like, I feel like I could still make it kawaii, but okay. And so I wasn't allowed to use the word. Yeah, literally. You're an Oiran, but you can't act like an Oiran or explicitly refer to it because it's not kawaii. If not Oiran, then why Oiran shaped? That's literally how I felt. I was like, huh? But production kawaii, you made the sandwich. Yeah, literally me. I was like, Always thought it was an interesting idea for kawaii to create an Oiran character given how the company was. I mean, as you can understand, I was also confused. I was like, if this is literally what I'm based off of, why can't I say the word? But no, I also thought it was interesting, but I was told not to explicitly say the word. Because they also started saying a lot of stuff about making me into a princess. Like, they were like, you can be a princess of the Oni if you want. A lot of people that we have hired tend to make themselves, like, princesses of things. And I was like, I don't know, I think the fact you're saying a lot of people do that means I probably should not be a princess. But that was the other thing they said initially, too. Like, besides the fact that I was based off of Oiran and, like, Maiko, which is, like, a lower level tier within like, the courtesan rankings, is they brought up princess quite a bit. And so I thought about being a princess for a period of time when I was deliberating on my lore. But then it didn't feel right, so I didn't go with it. I stuck with calling her an Oiran in my heart. And then I just became a performer instead. A disgraced performer who was then banished to Onigashima. Welcome, Onihime. No, 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 no. I don't think I could pull off being a princess. Or, like, being a more princess-like character. That's very dainty. Unfortunately, I am very much the, like, rebel... tomboy rebel princess type. I don't think I could be full dainty. No, but you can pull off being a princess. Yes, but that's different. And that also didn't really get established until later. But yeah, I guess the main thing when it came to discussing it was like just having someone be like very culturally aware and like that kind of like book smart. Which luckily, I think I can pull off kind of okay. I don't know if I'm the smartest in the room, but I do think I am aware of a lot of things to be able to handle a lot of different types of conversations. I definitely am gifted with gabbing. Which I feel like as an Oiran should be a core skill. Would we have known the difference between Oni and Oiran anyway when you debuted without explanation? Well, you know what Oni are if you consume any sort of Japanese media. Hopefully when you saw me, it was not the first time you ever saw an Oni. Because Oni exists in tons of things. Kimetsu no Yaiba was also very popular at the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if part of why they decided to make an Oni character was because of Kimetsu no Yaiba's popularity. And that was also literally about Oni. Granted, it was also about slaying Oni, but... I feel like that was probably the bigger inspo. But like, Oni is like a fantasy creature species that exists in other things. And is like present in a lot of Japanese like media. Which if you watch VTubers, you probably consume at least a little bit of. You probably would not have known what an Oiran is, though. I would have had to explain it. Which I wouldn't have been allowed to do, because I wouldn't be allowed to call myself a courtesan. Kimetsu was a thing. I think they did mention Kimetsu no Yaiba during that initial, like, lore thing, too. I think. Oiran was already implied since you called yourself a performer. Well, a performer was meant to be more vague in the sense that you could have been like, oh, so she was like an actress, or oh, she was like a dancer. But I did specifically choose the wording of performer to kind of allude. The first Oni I remember in my young life were a red Oni and a blue Oni working with Enma and Dragon Ball in the other world. Yes, there is also a whole trope dedicated to red Oni, blue Oni. I believe it's a, oh god. What's the name of that site where all of the, like, character tropes are? But there's literally a trope of, like, red Oni, blue Oni, where it's, like, a pair of characters where one is very, like, red, warm tone, hot-headed, and then the blue Oni is, like, TV tropes, thank you. And then blue Oni is the, like, cool-headed, level, calm, quiet one. Like, it's a common thing where, like, the red and blue Oni will be, like, polar opposites of one another. Warm color, cool color. That's That's also why I was surprised that I was supposed to be an Oni too, because I was green. And the only thing I knew about Oni is that most of the time they were depicted as being red or blue. So I was like, why am I green? Should I not have been a different color? Also, you should have just made me red, because then I would have matched with the fact that Ninja Kaya was red and then the Buttery Swordsman was pink. And we could have been a totally warm-colored group. So not only was I the one cool color, but they also chose green, which just made me clash so much. And I was like, what the hell? Green Oni take more damage from quick cards. So true. Red Yuno could have been cute. I agree. I think red would have been cute. I also would have been okay with blue, because I'm used to cool colors. I've always been... The fun fact, too, is that Hitomi and I, as friends, have always seen each other in the red Oni, blue Oni, like, character typing. But I was always the red Oni in our dynamic, and she was the blue. So I've always seen myself as, like, a red character. So it was very interesting to be assigned the cool color, but still be an Oni. And then also green! What the heck does green mean? It took me so long to, like, find examples of, like, green Oni and, like, what being a green Oni could potentially mean for, like, characterization. What it represents as a color. It was so fucking hard to find a reliable source. Shakes my dang head. But I guess that might have been part of it. Maybe they were worried that if I was red, that it would be too cliche. Green like Shrek? Well, fun fact. If you go to use the Oni mask when you're writing out my Oshi marks, it's referred to as Japanese ogre, which is not wrong, per se. But yes, I am basically Shrek. Unfortunately, I am basically Shrek if we go by that standard. But not anymore, though, because I'm purple. I'm finally free of the Shrek allegations. But there are even less examples of purple Oni, so... Throws my hands up. What's the point? Why live? Who in Mialoon is Donkey and Fiona? I think Lynn is probably Fiona and Kaya is probably Donkey. Just purely based off of personality and vibes. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Too cliche, they say, instead proposing princess number 4. So that's how we got Pirate Kaya? No, Pirate Kaya was just because it's what Kaya wanted. Because Kaya is the actual One Piece fangirl. Very true. It's fine. She was just thinking about, like, rebranding in general. I think it's okay to mention this now briefly, but we were in talks to, like, do a little bit of a soft rebranding, for ourselves back under Kawaii before everything went to shit. And she had pitched the idea of switching away from ninja even back then. But she wanted to do more, like, pirate ninja, because she thought that being both of them would be cool. But she was told no. Like, it couldn't be too drastic of, like, a core shift like that. They still wanted her to stay ninja because that's how she started. I was also told I had to stay Oni, but I didn't really plan to switch away from being an Oni, so I was like, okay. Oh no. Me who was not planning to change? Oh no. Whatever will I do? And it wasn't necessarily because of One Piece, but I wouldn't be surprised if One Piece did have a say in her making that decision. The whole ninja to pirate thing is very funny to me because I remember the pirate versus ninja internet days. I also remember those. I think I told her about them around the time we were discussing this. And she had no idea about it, so I was just sitting there like, ugh, ugh, ugh. Crumbles into dust. Can't believe Yuno almost switched from Onion to Girlic. Girlic? That's crazy. I would have just been girl by that standard. But anyhow, I think in the end we are both happy with where we are at now. She gets to be a pirate and also gets to be a dragon. And, you know, go back to a character that she missed terribly. So she's probably very happy about that. And then I'm over here, finally free from green. So in the end, we both did get what we wanted. Just switches to Ice Cream Parlor Girl to keep the banana split motif. Honestly, I do think it was kind of sad that we never really got like a food-themed girl at Kawaii, because I feel like food theming is super cute, especially if you think about like waitress aesthetics and like diner girl aesthetics. She still doesn't have the rich husband she wanted. Well, that was something she didn't start craving until way later. Don't look at me. I don't know anything about that, and I don't care anything about that. She can cry about whatever she wants to in her own spaces. Don't look at me, man. But no, I really do think that a food-themed girl probably would have gone so hard. '50s diner waitress outfit would go hard. Aw, man. I love a poodle skirt. I love me a poodle skirt. Just because the cafe maid hasn't sold that donut plate on the table for 4 years doesn't mean she's food related. Well, she was like made at a puppy cafe specifically though. Which is more about like the appeal of getting to eat food while surrounded by cute puppies. It's less about the food and more about the puppies that are there, right? That's a little bit different versus being like more purely food themed. Also, you know, Chiicho is doing her best. She's doing her best. I remember seeing a really cute orange Japanese maid cafe outfit a long time ago. Wish I could find it again. That does sound very cute. Maid cafe outfits, but I'm definitely more of like a diner girl aesthetic liker. But I know maid outfits have their appeal. And I know because the Hana Mizuki anniversary art was literally maids. Taisho maids, but maids nonetheless. Those designs were super cute also. I really do still love that artwork. I mean, I commissioned the same artist that made the primary visual for that anniversary artwork to do my new loading screen. So, obviously I did love that art very much. Let's see. What else to yap about? I don't really have much right now. I have to think. Busy week in gaming if you care about Steam NextFest. Lots of games have demos. I'm getting lots of notifications. Demo is out. Demo is available. Demo. And I'm just like, whoa, crazy. There's a lot going on. I'm playing a couple demos that are related to Steam NextFest this week. There's another that I'm considering playing on Thursday. I know I already posted my schedule and I have Thursday marked as a day off, but I might gorilla again. Bleh. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. I kind of want to still have my normal break day because it like throws off my week a lot if I don't, but I might. Nothing on my eye this NextFest, sadly. That's fair. It just seems like there's a lot. Or at the very least, I've been getting told about a lot because of the connections that I have, and also key mailers going burr with everybody being like, demo. And I'm just like, dang, okay. Boop. Just a very monkey time of her life right now. Monkey. Just a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. I kind of want to, but I also value my time off, especially because I'd then immediately be doubling again on Friday. And can't really afford to not double. I'm not sure, but maybe. I'll try to keep you posted if I decide to. But there's a reason that it would be good for me to stream on Thursday. I just don't know if I wanna yet. But yeah, lots of games. There's lots of games with demos coming out. I think it's mostly a lot of the like wholesome games that were like featured in Wholesome Direct and stuff that are getting a lot of demos. I feel like that's mostly what's been popping off on my list. But there's probably going to be a lot more too. And I've been seeing some other like fun games. My wish list has gotten so long. My wish list is so big now, and I'm just like, man, I'm never going to get every game that's on this fucking list. Even if they all manage to be on a massive sale. So many video games. That's a hint, but I'm too tired to think about it. No, I'm not trying to make it a hint, but there is a reason. I'm leaning towards just streaming it, because there's a chance it wouldn't be a super long stream anyhow. But we'll see. But yeah, big week in gaming. If you care about, like, demos and, like, early game showcases and stuff. For things that are coming in the future. I guess primarily in PC gaming, because it's mostly about games that are releasing on Steam. But still. Lots of neat stuff. I've been keeping my eye on several titles. Many of which I think are neat. RE9 is also coming out in a couple of days. Yes, I will be glad to not have to hear about Resident Evil 9 anymore. The amount of times I go to watch, like, game, like, platform directs or whatever, like, whether it's, like, a state of play or even, like, Nintendo directs or what have you, and they have, like, 2 or 3 minutes dedicated to Resident Evil, I have to look away from the screen the whole time because I hate zombies. So I'm just like, when will it end? Happy for those of you that finally get to play your game. Happy for me, because now I don't have to hear about Resident Evil 9. I don't have to see the trailers show up when I'm trying to watch other showcases and, like, presentations. That will be the enjoyable part of it for me. But I'm also glad that you guys get to play your game. I hope you all have fun with it. Not me, though. No, thank you. I will just be happy in my cozy girl corner with nothing going on. And I'll be quietly losing my mind when Pokémon reveals something hopefully cool during the presents on Friday. Back from the grocery store, I feel like I barely bought anything and it was still $50. God, I know, isn't it the fucking worst? Grocery costs really do feel like they've been skyrocketing. And it feels like you just don't even get anything, despite the amount of money that you spend. It sucks so bad. It sucks! It's evil and it's bad. I don't like it. But good job getting groceries. Hopefully it at least helps you make it through, like, a week. I've been feeling that way about my groceries too, though. Which I'm probably going to have to restock soon. Bleh. Back to the Mickey reference you were making earlier with the bread. Yeah, cutting it very, very thinly. Cozy Pokemart game. Wait, that would go so hard. Please. Please, Pokemon. Please. I would play that so much. I would become your biggest fan. Cozy girl corner losing her mind. Oh, Thursday is when they give you yard time outside the 3D bed. Stop. No, Thursday is the day when I do work. Bros drinking potions on the job? No. You can do that if you want, I guess. But also, potions are not drinkable. They are sprays. This was confirmed by the anime. What do you mean don't sell dusk balls here? Sir, this is Route 1. Sir, this is Route 1. We have 2 options. Potion, Pokeball. Premier Ball if you buy 10 Pokeball. Which you shouldn't have the money for. You literally just started. Trinket for greater effect. Ew. Sprays entire hyper potion in mouth. Wow, your breath sure smells hyper. I will drink the antiseptic spray and I will enjoy it. Okay. I can't really tell you what to do once you buy it, bro. Once you hand me the $Poké, it's out of my hands. Pokemon taking that grocery sim template and slapping the branding on that, wait, that just prints money? It would! That's what I'm saying. They've come so close. They have Pokemon Cafe Remix, but it's just kind of an annoying mobile game. Now, if they had, like, a kind of cheap, downloadable, game-only version of, like, a grocery store simulator where you run a Pokemart, that would go hard. And I would play it every day of my life. As long as it wasn't a mobile game. I'm really kind of done with mobile games, I think. I either have to be able to play it on PC or play it on a console. Otherwise, I just don't really want to play on a mobile device. It just kind of sucks. I don't enjoy it anymore. Are you looking forward to Pokopia? I am. I am looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the price point. But I'm looking forward to the game. But I have to suck it up and deal with that price point because Switch 2 video game prices. Ugh. I love the stupidity that Pokemon medication heals less than a bottle of water. I mean, water makes you healthy. We love beverages. It'll happen, but it's an energy-based microtransaction game you paid 20 bucks for. No! I wouldn't play it then. That's not what I want. I need it to be something that I can lose hours and hours and hours in without spending money on it. I will pay the base price to have the game, but it needs to be a game that does not require stamina. I will just play it for hours and hours and hours, and I will never look up from my device. Just cover the right side of the price with your hand, it's okay. Wow, this game is $7! I can't believe Pokopia is only $7! What a steal! Is Pokopia the Ditto game? Yes, it is. And people who have gotten a chance to play it early access have said that it plays more like the Viva Pinata game than it does Animal Crossing. It has like slight moments of Animal Crossing apparently, but it's like mostly like the Viva Pinata game that released for the Xbox 360, allegedly. Which is fascinating to me. I have to wonder what that's going to be like. Because I never played that Viva Pinata game. It's the GOAT is what I'm hearing. Seems so. It seems so. I refuse to believe a real game was called Viva Pinata. Well, it was. And it also had a show of the same name that released at the same time. It was a multimedia IP. The show had 2 seasons. I knew about the show, and then I found out later that Hitomi knew about the game. So we were both kind of looking at each other like, what? I was like, there's a game? And she was like, there's a show? We were both very baffled. Very baffled by this information. That was an Xbox game? Yes, it was an Xbox game. I believe it also released for Windows PCs. I think. But yeah, I wasn't an Xbox kid, so I didn't know it had a game. I only knew about the show because it was a 4Kids cartoon. Your powers combined. We know about both sides of the Viva Pinata franchise. Fusion, ha! But yeah, no. I only knew about the show, so I was like, huh? and she only knew about the game. And she was explaining the game to me, and I was like, okay, that sounds cute. And then I brought up elements from the show, and she was like, what? She thought the show was so messed up compared to the game. Meanwhile, she'd explain elements of the game to me, and I'd be like, that sounds kind of crazy. We just sounded like we were explaining two different things, but they are the same. They are, in fact, the same. PC and Xbox, good memory, good memory. But yeah, no, going back to the original question, I am excited about Pokopia. I do want to play it. I do also, I'm thinking about streaming it. It depends on if it ends up being super story heavy. I don't think it will be. Which is why I think I'd be a little bit more okay with streaming it. I will mayhaps stream it when the time comes. Mayhaps. We have to see how I'm doing financially by the time the game comes out. Because I still have to worry about my rent and my bills. Ooh. I'll do my best. Backseat the day one game, you'd be surprised. You genuinely would be surprised. By the time the game finally releases, there will probably be somebody who has somehow gotten access to the entirety of the game and knows what you're supposed to do. Time to show off that tummy more? It's going to lose its novelty eventually, surely. Push comes to shove, stream it in a McDonald's bathroom with a laptop you borrowed. Jesus. Novelty, more like navel. Ha ha. More like navelty. Ha ha ha. Funny. If I stream it from the McDonald's bathroom, Grimace will get mad at me. I don't want Grimace to get mad at me. Good one, Dad. Treating it like a party trick. I mean, that is basically what it is. It's not like I can show it any other way. I guess Pokopia is like the only thing I'm really looking forward to that's coming out on the Switch 2, unless they decide to reveal teasers for Gen 10, which is probably almost assuredly going to be Switch 2 only. I've been cursed with knowledge. I'll never forget that the butt fangs are visible. Oh, yeah, sorry, hold on. Heh. Maybe a starter drop for Gen 10. I think that they would probably have like a teaser for a cry from one of the starters maybe, or from the box legend maybe. What do you think they'll call Gen 10, or has it been revealed already? It has not. I mean, people have been claiming leaks for a while. I don't pay attention to leaks just because I usually think that they are wrong. And I just find it better to not care about leaks at all. So I don't know anything about the leaks. I wonder if they're still going to do the like dual release format. I read an interesting thread earlier in the day about how some people are hoping that there's going to eventually be a departure from having the dual release method. Because the stories don't end up being that different besides, like, maybe a different character as a gym leader. At least that's what it was for Sword and Shield, I think. But for the most part, there's, like, no actual differences besides, like, a few regional, like, specific mons. And so people think it's become kind of outdated to still try to have, like, split games. So there's, like, some people who want, like, just, like, a single game from now on. The excuse is version-exclusive mons and trading. Well, what I'm saying is there aren't that many version-exclusive mons, though. Like, at a certain point, we were just choosing games because it had, like, 2 Pokemon that we really wanted to be able to just naturally catch instead of having to trade for them. There ends up being, like, what, 5 Pokemon that you would have to trade for in, like, the big new decks? And then people who do eventually want to buy the other version of the game so that they can, like, have the natural copy of the legendary or whatever they do with it. You're still spending a lot of money for what is basically the same game but with a slightly different coat of paint. Like, the fact that the story was still quite the same between Scarlet and Violet is kind of a bummer, despite the fact that one focused on the past and one focused on the future. I think they could have done a lot more to make it feel more, like, distinctly different instead of it being the same story, just with, like, slight phrasing adjustments. However, I don't think they'll really change it. It's just something that I saw some people wish. In lieu of Gen 10, are you going to try the other Game Freak title, Beast of Reincarnation? I want to. If it comes out on Steam, like if it has a PC release alongside the PlayStation or whatever, I do want to try it. It looks good. I think I would have fun. Would I stream it? No, because it's JRPG. But I think I would probably have fun playing it. And I want to know that they are capable of making, like, other cooler games that aren't just, like, Pokemon. It says August 2026 on Steam, then I will probably play it. Yesu, yesu. How would they handle legendary duos, though, or do you think they should just do singles? I personally think I'd be fine with there just being a single box legendary. Just in my humble opinion, I'd be okay with just a single box legendary. I don't think there needs to be 2. You could have a story choice where you pick legendary 1 early and then get a higher level legendary 2 later. Maybe. I also don't think there's anything really stopping them from having both legendaries be on 1 box. Shocking, I know. If they really want the story to focus on 2 opposing legendary Pokemon, I think you could just put both on the box. Have a morality system, good path and evil path with the legendaries on each end. Ugh. If only they weren't aiming it for kids. I don't think kids would really be able to handle a morality system very well. Let me join the evil team. I think it would be cool if they did something like that for a Legends game. Since they try to use the Pokemon Legends games to, like, experiment more with their formulas, I think it would be cool for them to introduce a morality system for Legends. Which Legends game? I don't know what that would be at that point, but it would be kind of cool if you could have the option. They can just do what they used to do with the 3rd enhanced versions as well, like Emerald or Platinum. I guess that's true. Just have it be like a unified story that has like the three core of whatever they're planning out. In a sense, Legends Arceus put you on an evil team. No. I don't agree with that take. Just because some of the people that were there were ancestors of people who became evil does not mean that they are evil. I did not get that read from any of the characters in Arceus at all. We're joining Team Rocket. I mean, I think that there are enough people who like Team Rocket, including like the more edgy version that you see in the games, that there would be some value in having a game where you could actually be on Team Rocket, but there's like fan games for that already. I know I said the bad word, but there's fan games for that already, and they're already pretty decent. I don't really foresee the Pokemon Company ever making like a actual game dedicated to it. Or Mass Effect style, do it by the book Lawful or Renegade for Life. Game freaking Nintendo. I don't want them to look at me. It's true though. Don't mind me, I'm like writing out some stuff for work notes on top of streaming. So I apologize, I keep stopping to type because I'm doing work stuff. Legends Kanto helping Giovanni set up Team Rocket. Oh, that's kind of fun. Or maybe you're part of the group that's like helping Team Rocket's resurgence. Neo Rocket. Curious to see if they'll bring back one of their discarded concepts like Pokemon Rangers or even triple battles. I feel like triple battles would be more likely than Rangers. Rangers is a formula that really only works with a touch screen. And while you can touch the screen of the Switch too, I don't foresee them releasing a stylus yet. Yet. We went from actual evil forces to mad fans of your rival or bullies at school as evil team in the newer games. Kids can handle a real plot. I feel you. I kind of want the evil team, quote unquote, to be more evil too. I think the most fun non-evil evil team was Team Skull, just because they were a bunch of rapscallions, and I just thought that them being really rebellious was funny. But they also had like really interesting depth too, because then they also had the other evil team in the Aether Foundation. Also, I do not mean Rainbow Rocket. I'm thinking of like Neo Team Rocket from like Heart Gold Soul Silver. When Team Rocket tried to come back and they tried to take over Johto. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ranger would only work with a touch screen, and while you can touch the screen on the Switch too, I don't foresee them releasing a stylus dedicated to the game, because that would encourage too many people to ruin their screens. Just because you have touch screen capability doesn't mean that they want you to ruin it by making 80 bajillion circles. I think if anything, they might try to use the Switch 2's mouse controls and use that to draw circles. But that could also get really annoying. Destroy your screen or destroy your Joy-Con. The illusion of choice. Something will die. Team Yell are just Marnie fans and I would have been one of them. No, you're so real for that. I also would have been in Team Yell. Marnie was so cute. Although I also really liked Bede. Bede is cute too. And also, I was a Hop apologist. I did not like how many people were mean to Hop. I'm sure there will be custom skates for the Joy-Cons to make it glide better. Yeah, maybe. I would join Team Yell just for their battle theme. Their battle theme was pretty good. But no, like... I still didn't really care for Team Yell as an organization, though. They didn't really feel like an enemy. Sword and Shield was kind of bad at making it, like, clear who the enemy was supposed to be. Which I guess is fine. You don't necessarily have to have a very concrete enemy or, like, a concrete, like, villain, but I remember not really liking that part of the narrative. Is the Damadashi an evil team? I don't think so. What do you mean, well? Until we bully her? No! I still don't think that makes you an evil team. The enemy was the energy crisis. The enemy was Big Corpo. I guess. If you think about Chairman Rose. Yuno and wanting to throttle the writing team, normal day. It's just a shame, too, because I really did like the characters in Sword and Shield. I just feel like the overall plot was very nothing. Not enough wind turbines, true. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely felt like Scarlet and Violet was kind of very meh when it came to like having the enemy team just be a group of outcast kids who were bullied. Like, you couldn't make it more obvious that they were supposed to be sympathetic if you tried. And then, like, I guess you had occasional, like, individual, like, antagonists. Not villains, but antagonists. But I don't know. They should have given more screen time to Raihan and Leon, then it would have fixed the plot. Correct. Leon should have been given more to do. I also think it would have been more fun to see, like, him be the, like, foil and, like, be the, like, oppressive role model force that he was to Hop. I feel like we could have seen that a bit more. We didn't really get to see the two of them interact as brothers very much. We were just supposed to understand that because Leon was a super amazing champion, that Hop was in his shadow and felt like he needed to be just like him. We were just supposed to understand that intrinsically, but I wanted to see how they interacted together more. Scarlet Violet didn't have an actual antagonist until the very final part of the game. I loved the Area Zero stuff. I loved Area Zero, but that wasn't even because of there being an actual antagonist. I just liked the fact that the character writing was so much more solid. I felt like the emotional beats were so much stronger there. In a game that felt very much like fucking nothing until then. I was not compelled by a lot of the other characters in the game, and I'm very sad to say that. But the core friend group and then the stuff we got about the professor during Area Zero, top notch. Can you please, 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 please become the lead writer for the Ace Combat series? Their stories are always really bland and generic, then when you have your foot in the door at Bamco, turn the entire company to the light. I mean, the problem is a lot of these studios expect you to have already written for high level games, as in like AAA or like a major release title. Until I can get my foot in the door with a major release title, I can't join any company. Find your life path, but oops, you have to do them all anyways. Not only that, but also, oops, there is a recommended order purely based off of like the way the levels work throughout the region. So you can't even technically choose, quote unquote. You can, but you're going to end up over leveled if you go to a certain place before you go to the other places. So then they're going to end up being like steamrolled. Because they didn't make the levels scale based on what you were choosing. Which they should have done. It's common fucking sense. I can sympathize with wanting to move away from evil guy wants to destroy / rule the world, but they need to figure out something that's evil and lower stakes. I think you can still have high stakes that aren't destroy or rule the world, that are evil. I think that they feel that not the opposite. I think they feel that in order to have a different kind of villain, they need to change the scale of what their evil deed is. Cause like, it didn't even really feel evil in Scarlet and Violet at all. Sometimes they did bad things, but no character actually felt evil. Not scaling the levels was so weird. I will stand by this until the day I fucking die. I was so excited by the idea of the game letting you choose what you wanted to do. And then not only did it have 3 set paths that you had to follow no matter what, with no other options for things you could do, and also like no other cities to really interact with, which pissed me off. But then also like, the fact that it was pretty obvious what order you needed to do everything in was so frustrating. What was even the point? Why did they lie? I love grabbing every Pokemon from every route available before progressing, so I was overleveled like 90% of the game. Oh, you do it Professor Oak style. Doing your own Professor Oak challenge, I see, I see. I just rushed to all of the Titan battles so I could explore more easily. Gen 7 onwards, none of them are actually evil. Yeah, they're just opposition, which is fine. But I think it would be more fun to see characters actually be evil. I liked the twist in Legends Arceus, actually. As much as I shit on Arceus for not being... Legends Arceus, I mean. For not being, like, the best out there in terms of, like, memorable characters, I do think that they actually had a good villain. Because he actually did some shit that was fucked up. I think that that was actually kind of sick, and I wish we had more villains like that. Again, I think we can handle having villains like that again sometime. Please. PN. When you play a game offline, are you the type that when you don't like something about the game, you just sigh and internalize, or do you talk to yourself and verbalize your displeasure? It depends on the game. Because sometimes, even if I play games online, I play them and, like, screen share with Hitomi. And Hitomi does the same with me, where we'll, like, go through a game kinda together and experience it at the same time, so we'll, like, bounce off each other and shit talk it if things are bad. If I'm playing purely by myself, I do tend to keep pretty quiet. I just internalize all of my thoughts, and then I will probably go, like, vent in a text channel to friends. Not even just Hitomi, but just to friends. I'll just be like, please, listen to my woes. The walls have heard things. Oh yeah, no. When I'm actively playing, I tend to keep it to myself. Once I'm done with my game session for the night, and I like save and I turn everything off, I will pace around this box and I will talk to myself out loud as if I am giving a presentation on stream. So you will literally hear me walking back and forth across my hallway like, and then chat, you won't believe it, but the twist villain was so predictable that I didn't even express shock. I was just like, oh no. Anyway, and like that's literally what I sound like as I'm going back and forth just like ranting about how much I hated something in a fucking game. And I just get so angry to myself and I'm just expressing it out loud. There was literally a day where I had an entire 2-hour Zatsu where I was just talking out loud to myself. Nobody was in the house, obviously, because I live alone. And I talked to myself for 2 hours because I was so heated about something. And then I stopped and I was like, I cannot believe I just spent 2 hours of my life doing that. Is the chat in the box right now? No. The imaginary chat in my head is. But yeah, no, I do like talk to myself a lot. When you live alone, you either are completely silent all the time or you talk to yourself at every hour of the day. And I have reached a point because I've been living by myself long enough that I basically just talk to myself regularly. I literally saw like a short about this earlier today where somebody was just like, like what others think being alone is like, and it's you just sitting in a blanket bundle on your couch doing nothing. What it's actually like is you going around like cleaning and doing chores and just like talking to yourself like, do I need to go shopping? Yes. Do I want to go shopping? Also, yes. And then also like talking to yourself, like reliving an argument that you had with somebody, but like changing how you responded so that you're the winner and that kind of thing. It's very silly. It made me laugh a lot. I was like, that's literally me. I'm embarrassed. Next time you should talk to the Damadachi plushie. I guess so. If I ever feel like I want to like stream, if I want to treat it more like a Zatsu, then I would probably just pick up the Damadachi plush and yell at it. I want cheese. Be specific, me. Swiss cheese. Let's go. Amnesia plotline appears. Yuno gently places her controller down, closes her eyes, screams internally, gets up and rants for 2 hours. Sometimes. It depends. I can stomach an amnesia plot if I know that it's going to actually resolve itself in a way that I like. But because I'm very particular with my amnesia storylines, and more often than not, I do get mad. Also, I got really heated playing the latest Star Rail patch because, if you don't mind spoilers, I don't know if anyone here still actively plays Star Rail. I think it might just be me. But there was a plot point that I really fucking hated because I'm getting really sick of the fact that they keep defaulting to this. And I got so mad. I literally told Hitomi that I might have to stop playing. I was screen sharing to her because we use my game because I'm playing as the female protag. She chose Kalis, I chose Stell. But we were using my playthrough because when we do a lot of our Star Rail shipping, we use Stell as the Trailblazer vehicle. So I was going through it as Stell, and I was like, bro, I think I need to stop playing. This pisses me off so bad. I was genuinely so angry. I almost didn't keep playing. The spoiler for the record is the fact that they keep doing things to manipulate the Trailblazer's memory, and like brainwash not just them, but also everybody in the fucking like Astral Express crew, and it just makes me so annoyed. Like, and they've gone out of their way to say that now the Trailblazer has like active protections because of everything that they went through in Amphorius to be able to resist a lot of the like memory manipulation and brainwashing. because so much of them was already manipulated, but, you know, they retcon that a bit in 3.8 by having it be like, oh, your memories aren't actually yours, blah, 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 blah. And then now we're in the Plan Arcadia patch, and, like, you can actively choose to fight against the brainwashing, but then you get brute forced into it anyway, and it's because they want to have their stupid subplot, and I'm just like, this isn't even valuable. I don't even like this, though. This isn't even valuable. It was very annoying. Because I'm just like, why do you go out of your way to say that this wouldn't be affecting us as much as it used to because we have better mental protections against this sort of manipulation, and then still have it happen? And then not even just to us, but also to another character who literally went through such a character development arc in Amphorius that they literally should have full protections against that sort of memory manipulation. And then it was revealed later that they were able to break out of it. But, like, the thing is, that happened off screen, and when we were there as the Trailblazer, we still saw them going through the, like, the obvious, like, brainwashing, memory manipulation bullshit. So, still not very valuable. Anyway, that shit pissed me off, and I literally, like, I moved away from my desk, I grabbed my pillow, came back towards my microphone, and I screamed into my pillow while still, like, talking to Hitomi, so Hitomi just heard me muffled into my pillow through the VC, and I was just screaming, like, can we stop manipulating my memories for 20 minutes? Please? Because I'm tired of memory manipulation being the core, like, plot point in order to get this stupid thing across. I'm just like, you don't have to do that. Ugh. I 100% feel the same. Bellabog was fairly grounded in reality, but Pinaconi gave off the vibes that Star Rail is just one big fever dream, amplified by how they handled Amphorius. I think that Pinaconi was a good story. What I didn't like is that because there were elements of Pinaconi that people were very critical of, that the writers decided to go back to Pinaconi and do the great big Pinaconi retcon of 3.8. I don't like the fact that the reason that we're even having that retcon happen in the first place is because we have to be told that our memories were completely manipulated, and that everything that we thought we finally remembered after we break out of the, like, fucking Inception level dream sequences is wrong too, because somebody took those memories away from us and manipulated us. Like, stop. Okay? Stop. And then again with Amphorius, whole things about memory and, like, manipulation of memory and, like, being burdened by the amount of memories that you fucking have because you have to do the same recursions over and over and over again. Being burdened with the memory of thousands of years worth of cycles, millions of cycles. And now you are fucking telling me that after we are given this ability to resist that sort of manipulation, because of the fact we have built up that tolerance of being able to hold that many memories, that it can just so easily be manipulated by a girl being like, oh, don't you recognize this person, Stell? This girl did this in our class. This is our teacher. Goo goo gaga. And then it just makes the Trailblazer immediately go, I guess that makes sense, goo goo gaga. And I'm like, what do you mean? But, like, what do you mean, though? It made me so pissed off. I was, like, screaming. Oh, 560 followers? Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Anyways. I'm heated about it again, in case you can't tell. Granted, I do still think that the Plan Arcadia patch was mostly good. I think that part with the memory manipulation pissed me off, and I just really don't want them to keep, like, relying on that trope going forward. But because it was such a blip, like, it was over just as quickly as it started, thank God, I just don't want them to keep doing that. Like, we're good now. We don't have to manipulate our memories anymore. Like, I think it would be nice to just have memories that we're allowed to have that are real. Just me, though. But I was also very much burned by the fact that Amphorius was such an intense story, and I got so attached to all of the characters, and then it was just revealed that, well, Spoilers if you didn't finish Amphorius, but it was revealed that they're not real. So, like, we basically wasted an entire year IRL with characters who are not real. So that was kind of annoying. And we're apparently going to spend another year-ish here in Plain Arcadia within the game. So can we have memories that are real with things that are real? That would be nice. End statement. That's rage-inducing? Thank you. Thank you for understanding my plight. Smile. Next patch, they'll start manipulating the actual human player's memory. Yeah, please keep track of this stream, because if there's a point where they start manipulating my memory and I act like none of this ever happened and I actually love memory manipulation tropes, you'll know they fucking got me. You'll know they fucking got me, and you have to save me. Noted. Thank you. As an empath, I can tell you're mildly annoyed. Just a smidge. Just a little bit. But I'll be fine. It's all okay. I do still feel, like, attached to Star Rail enough that I am willing to power through Plain Arcadia just to see how it goes, but I am not fully optimistic, I guess is all I will say. After Amphorius, I am jaded. I had a pretty, like, meh reaction to this first patch of Plain Arcadia. Hitomi liked it more than I did, but she was also more excited for it than I was. I was not that thrilled to play. I was like, I guess I gotta, because again, we're using my playthrough as, like, our main reference for, like, the canon storyline. But in my head, I was just like, I don't know if I'm really excited about this. I wasn't, by the way. I was not hyped. So I ended up having a lower rating for it. I think I rated it like a 6, and Hitomi rated it like a 7 out of 10 for the record. And I was like, that's generous. And she was like, I guess. I gave it a 6, and I thought that was me being extra nice. I will say I'm curious about what they're going to do with Sunday in Plain Arcadia too. I'm getting more interested in Sunday as a character, so I want to see what they do with him in this place. We'll see what happens. Cautiously optimistic I am. But I'm very wary.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
69,996 channel points. Ooh, that's a very nice number. Sorry to ramble about Star Rail suddenly. I know I don't stream it. Star Rail is definitely a game I prefer to keep offline. Because I have a lot of thoughts. I don't usually talk about it on main. but I have a lot of feelings. I feel like Azurlane handles that better. I've never tried Azurlane. I don't know anything about it, to be honest. This is OniMon, you're supposed to ramble? Good. That is literally what the thumbnail is meant to represent too. That's literally there for me to be like, man. Let me yap. I have things to say. At least it's not about Limbo again. Azurlane, girls that are ships that barely wear any clothes. So it's not Kantai collection? They're two different things? You are in a giant sim with multiple test sites, where the program runners are testing everything, so the memories are always real, but not yours. Interesting. Legally distinct Concoal. Azurlane stole the idea. Okay. Naruhodo. Same premise, less clothes. Okay, Naruhodo. I don't know very much about Kantai Collection. I've heard of it, though. They also made it lewd. I assume that's what they meant with less clothes. I kind of picked up on that with less clothes. But thanks for spelling it out for me. There's 3D animations on top of less clothes? Ah, I see. So like lewd. Since it's a really old gacha game, they went full lewd route to keep the money coming. Ugh, it's always such a shame when they have to resort to that. I suppose I get it. But I do still find it quite a shame. Even as somebody who can appreciate a pretty woman, I'm just like, man, your story should be enough. Having to resort to the lewds is always, ugh. Even if I get it, it is certainly a market. There is certainly dollars there. Paywalled, so free-to-play is basically normal clothes to appropriate beachwear. If you go premium, however, oof. Somehow that makes it worse. I guess they heard some say they need more plot and brought in the wrong one. So true. Still unfortunate. But whatever. I guess I can't really yuck other people's yum. Several gacha going that route? Yeah. I suppose so. But yeah, I'm not really doing much gacha anymore. Star Rail is kind of the only one I'm locked in on. Every other gacha I've kind of given up. There was one gacha I tried to start. But I didn't end up liking it very much. I could see that it was going to very quickly become kind of pay to play. Or like pay to enjoy basic features that I feel should have been included in the app. So I was like, and I don't think I can foresee myself playing it much. So I'm probably going to give up on that too. Will you say which one? Yeah. It's a Josei Muke app. So it's aimed at girls. You guys would never play it. It's called My Beloved Star. Each guy is like a personification of the constellations. That's not what I meant. Horoscope. Zodiac. Whatever the fuck. Horoscopes. And you as the main character, you can change your gender. They refer to you as they, them in the story, but you can choose your gender. To be like boy or girl. But you technically don't have to choose either. You are selected to like, you're like an author and you get chosen to, well, through a series of events, you come up with this idea about all of the horoscopes being represented by like princes, and you think about them like having to decide who's going to become the next king of the horoscopes. And then it turns out that this imagined idea that you have when you're like super down on your luck about your manuscripts not getting accepted is actually real, and you get isekai'd to the place where these horoscope boys live, and you find out that you are actually the one who is charged with deciding which of them is going to become the king of the horoscope, like, star prince people. They all come from, like, different, like, worlds, planets that have, like, different, cultures, like, different ways that they treated their respective princes. And then when it's your turn to, like, you're holding the crown and you're kind of, like, assessing everybody's ability to potentially become the king. But the crown gets stolen from you by the enemy. And so you kind of have to, like, research to figure out where they took the crown. I didn't get very far in the main story because, again, it was very pay-to-play-y. But the whole appeal of it, basically, is that because the princes are not fully evolved into their, like, proper forms, because none of them are king, if they use too much of their individual, like, magical abilities tied to their horoscope, they revert into babies. And there's actually, like, art of them being drawn in, like, little chibi baby forms. And so they have, like, a butler man who takes care of all of them when they are in baby form, and it is your job to, like, recharge them by, like, interacting with them, I guess, and, like, giving them information about, like, who you are. I don't know. It's kind of funky. But they'll eventually, like, get back to their regular form after they recharge. But the reason I decided to stop playing the game is because I saw that most, if not all of the, like, cosmetic features and also a lot of the, like, voice lines are locked behind gacha. Gacha that you can only access if you pay for the currencies or if you pay for the packs, and it's still random, even if you pay for the packs. So, I'm playing it because my favorite Seiyu plays a character. And I can't hear any of his voice lines, really, besides the few that are voiced in the main story. And if I'm lucky, if I manage to pull voice lines in the gacha. I literally can't hear his voice as this character any other way. So I'm just like, interesting. The story is not fully voiced. Some lines are, but it's kind of random which ones are. I wonder if that was, like, on purpose or not. But I didn't really like that. And then, you know, back to the fact that the only way to really hear them is if you're pulling the lines in the gacha, I was like, kinda yucky. So it's not like the best. Also, the other thing that I thought was annoying, if you log into the app regularly, the character that you assign to yourself as like your like patron, like the one that you're choosing to have become king, it doesn't have to be like your horoscope character. Like for example, I don't have to choose Aquarius even though I'm an Aquarius. So I chose Gemini because that's the one that's voiced by Eguchi Takuya. But like they give you your horoscope whenever you log into the game for the first time in the day. Like that's your login thing. But they only give you like a generic reading. If you want a reading about like your career or about your love life, you have to pay for like a membership pass in order to get access to those horoscopes being part of your listing. And that's so stupid. Because who the fuck only gets their horoscope for like the generic reading? Don't people usually care more about like the subcategories like career or romance or like school or whatever? It just kind of annoyed me. I was like, what do you mean I have to pay for the pass to get those? I also think they're two separate passes. Like you have to pay for both the career pass and the romance pass in order to get those two alongside your general reading. And I think that's stupid. Had to pay for those VAs somehow. I'm sure that's what it is. The cast is pretty star-studded for a game that had basically no promotion. And it released simultaneously in Japanese and English, so I have to give them some props for that too, because they are localizing it. But I was just like, oh, but this... I don't like the fact that I would have to spend all that money in order to, like, actually get to enjoy the seiyuu. And, like, the characters and the art style are okay. But it just, I could tell that it was going to quickly become something where I was gonna have to spend money dollars in order to actually enjoy it, so I kind of stopped playing it. And I'm probably gonna delete it. Like, I think this is just a sign to me that I can't play gacha games or things like this anymore, really. Because I don't want to have to spend money. It's just not worth it to me. I feel that I gave up every gacha game except Genshin. I'm too deep into it. That's kind of how I'm feeling with Star Rail, honestly. I like Star Rail enough still that I'm willing to keep going, but I think if Plain Arcadia disappoints me in any way, I might have to stop. But in the end, I know this is probably better for me. I think that a lot of gacha just... like, there's elements of them that are good. Like, even if they have really good stories, I just don't feel like I can really justify the gacha parts. Like, I realized very quickly that even though I do still like the concept of Nikkei, I can't justify that gacha. None of those gachas are worthwhile to me. Duet Night Abyss was a huge disappointment for me. I was so hyped for weeks. Aw, that sucks. Sad to hear that. I can justify a bit of spending for meta purposes, but just for VA and extra content, hell no. Yeah, I thought it was just so icky. And then they also have a stamina mechanic on top of that shit. So once you run out of stamina, you have to watch ads in order to get hearts back. Or you just, like, stop playing the game, obviously, and wait until your stamina recharges. Annoying as fuck. Pisses me off for real. Bleh. I'm tired of being prey. Handshake emoji. I'm just starting to think that there's just a lot more value with the dollar that I can put towards, like, a full game. Versus putting it towards a mobile game or a gacha type game. With Starvale, I play enough kind of regularly that I can still, like, rack up currency for pulling if I want a character, and I can usually get the character. I've only spent a little bit of money in Starvale. I think it's still less than 100. I believe so. I've also been gifted money to do pulls before. So technically not my money. But that's why I can justify still playing Starvale. I do still like playing it, and the story is still okay. Streamer privilege. Streamer privilege. But like, I don't foresee myself continuing if it ever gets to a point where I don't enjoy it. I have an embarrassing amount of money in the only gacha I play. Well, if it's the only one you play, though, that means that you're, like, really passionate about it still and you care about it. I get it. I think if you see value in it and you get value out of it, then it's fine. This isn't me shaming anyone who plays gacha. I just think for me, where I am at right now, I haven't really been able to convince myself to keep playing most gacha. Also been getting real tired of getting a decent amount of content up front, then a dribble afterwards, and then jumping in later, taking large breaks introduces a whole new type of hassle. That's very fair. I kind of felt that way about Nikkei. I was keeping up for quite a while, and I felt like the content flow was pretty decent. But once I stopped playing due to circumstances, it became very difficult to try to get back into it. Because there was just so much I then became behind on. And then that made it feel less fun. And I think people probably also have that issue with things like Starvale or other, like, Hoyoverse games, where whenever you get a main story quest update, you get, like, 5 to 7 hours worth of, like, narrative content, and then you just kind of have trickles of events or whatever for, like, the rest of the month until the next big patch. Can definitely cause problems. But also, you know, we have the epidemic of the fact that people don't even really like reading stories in games that they play anymore. So we have the skip button that introduces you to, like, a summary of what happens in a particular scene. So you don't have to read the content anymore. Just skip right to the playing, I guess. Bleh. I don't really endorse skipping, but I guess if that's how you want to play the game, you choose the buttons you press, is an expression I've been kind of enjoying getting mileage out of lately. You choose the buttons you press. So if that brings you joy, it brings you joy. Not to me, though. More egregious are limited time events that are tied to the overall plot that won't get a rerun in a year or two. Me looking at the fucking Lantern Rite event in Genshin. Me looking at several events in Starvale. WOG. With how a bunch of gachas seem to do story, they often introduce some sort of large overarching plot at the beginning that usually hooks me, and then it gets forgotten in like 50 events of filler. That's fair. I feel like Starvale is doing a decent job with story, with like main story quests. I do feel like a lot of their events are very, very filler, though. I don't enjoy playing them very often. I do it for the rewards, and then as soon as I get all the rewards, I'm done. I'm like, okay, see you. I skip and then watch a VTuber play through the story. I guess that's different. If you want to experience the story alongside a streamer, then that's okay. Because, I mean, Hitomi watches me play through Starvale on my account. It's like that we see the story from Stella's POV. And then when she goes through it using Kalis, she also just, like, skips through it all because she read it through with me. So that's fair. If you do it that way because you experience the story in full with someone else, I think that's also acceptable. I just don't think I could ever fully advocate for just skipping story in a video game with like no other way to actually experience the story besides the like summary lines, the 1 or 2 sentence summaries they write when you hit skip. Even if it's a story that I hate, I force myself to finish it because sometimes if I find it to be a slog, there's a chance that there's something that's like worthwhile after going through all of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this part sucks, but what if I finally manage to make my way through and then there's something in it that's good? And that's kind of what I aim to like find by forcing myself through reading it all the way. Maybe I'm just coping. Maybe it's copium. It probably is copium. But it will continue. Yes, yes. Anyways. It isn't often that a slog is worth it. This is fair. That's why I'm saying it could very well be copium. I think there have been times where it's been worth it to me. I'm admittedly not feeling that way about 3.8 in Star Rail. I literally didn't finish it and just went to 4.0. It's still sitting unfinished in my quest log. I don't know if I'll ever have the strength to go back to it. I really should try, especially as somebody who likes Firefly. I know that 3.8 is really good for Firefly as like a character, but I'm just like, God, I fucking hate it. I'll make myself go through it eventually. Today is not that eventually. I go through the repository after completing Fernike's event and main stories. Sometimes I do end up rereading them when like Nano plays through them. That's fair. Again, like I said, if you like don't pay attention much after you just like get all of the parts and then you just wait to go through it with like a VTuber or a streamer, I think that's fine because it means you're like sharing that experience with that content creator. I think that that's fine. And then especially like if it's a reread, it can be fun to see somebody's like fresh takes on it versus you who has finished it. Or whatever. I think that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I really did not like 3.8, so I didn't finish it, and then the 4.0 patch came, and I was like, oh, it's giving me access to 4.0 anyway? Don't mind if I do. And I just snatched it up. I was like, you're mine now. Him. Okay. Well, gamers, it is midnight. I should probably end stream so that I can start my wind down routine and not go to bed at like 2 a.m. My sleep schedule's been so ass the past few days. I gotta try to get this shit back in order, bro. It's been that long, it sure has. I be yapping. Just 6 more hours. It's Oni 2s now. Yes, we have once again streamed into Oni 2s. Oh boy, 3 a.m. No, not 3 a.m. Not 3 a.m. Not tonight. I'm not strong enough. My browser still says 4 minutes? Dog, why is your browser 4 minutes behind? Happy February 24th. Happy February. Anyways, we have a game demo tomorrow night, same time, 8 p.m. Then I have 2 days off, and then I am doubling, on Friday for Pokémon Presents, and then we're also gonna play Fishbowl, which is another demo. We're doubling on Tuesday with the Twitch only and members. Members is Jackbox. We might mostly do Survey Scramble. I haven't actually decided what I want to do in terms of Jackbox, but it will be Jackbox. And then Sunday, we'll do my Voice Zoo, which I think you've probably seen other VTubers play by now. But I want to try it. I want to see if I can make a very chaotic, silly zoo. We'll have to come up with funny memes and like voice lines that I can record for the aminals. I think it'll be cute. It'll be a fun time. But we'll do that on Sunday as our cozy game of the week. So that's the plan for the rest of February. God, Sunday is March 1st. That's terrifying. That's terrifying to me. I can't believe it's already gonna be March. Wow. Ew. Yeah, that's how I feel. Ew. That's weird and cringe. The passage of time is crazy and is also made up, I agree. But anyways, so I will see you hopefully tomorrow, for the next game I will be playing. But until then, thank you guys so much for choosing to spend time with me. I hope that you have a good rest of your time zone. And until I see you again, Yuno, have a good night.